Don't wait.
We are don't wait.
Don't wait. Don't wait till I die.
Don't wait, yeah.
Don't wait.
Don't wait, my brother, don't wait.
Don't wait.
My sister, don't wait.
Don't wait. Don't wait till I
I'm in the hospital, don't wait.
Don't wait.
I'm dying, don't wait.
Don't wait.
I need your help, don't wait.
Don't wait. Don't wait till I die.
Please help me, don't wait.
Don't wait.
Don't wait, don't wait, don't wait.
Don't wait.
I need you help me now,
Don't wait. Don't wait till I die.
Don't wait till I die before you help me. If you want to help me right now. Don't wait, oh sister, don't wait. I said don't wait, my brethren, don't wait. Don't wait till I die before you help me. I need your help. Help me right now. I'm in the hospital, lying on my sick bed. I just need you to help me one my life, and Jehovah will bless you. Don't wait till I die to rain cast and get my body to the grave. I said don't wait when I die before you praise me. Don't wait when I die to cry for me, man. Oh, don't wait when I die to post my photo. This woman was so sick. She was saying got up on her day. I said she went from place to place, but she could not get the treatment she needed. Finally, her son took her to the hospital. And the doctor said they should bring 5 pounds of blood. But this woman could not afford the money. Oh yeah, even her son could not afford the money. He left the mother at the hospital. He went to family member. He went to Uncle Johnny's place. He said, Uncle, my mother is at you. I left my mother at the hospital. And the doctor said, we should bring 5 pounds of blood. Uncle, please help my mother. Uncle, help my mother. Uncle, I beg you, help my mother. Please help my mother. Oh, Uncle, help her before she dies. Johnny looked in her face. He said, my son, I don't have no money, oh. My son, no money, oh. What tell your mama say? I don't have no money, oh. I will see what to do. But next week, my son, no money, oh.
Don't wait. This is the latest on the blog from the Liberian gospel artist, Minister Jemima Walker. Voice hovering right here on the diaspora informative news network, Liberia Public Radio.
And the doctor said we should bring 5 pounds of blood. I have come to beg you, Auntie, help my mother. Auntie, please.
As I call it, welcome, Princess. This is John Webb and Ronald David Ward. Good evening to good afternoon. Welcome to the show. This is the Friday editions of Panelists, Lpr-Tv Live with the Panelists. But there's there are two different segments here this evening. We're going to go in the community and see what is happening here. Mr. John Yomi is my special guest here in the first segment. A group calling us at Liberia. Library Research and Development Network. They're going to be talking to us here on their engagement. Giving back to the community. Don't wait, and they are not waiting. Let's listen to the songs and we'll be right back. Welcome, Arachie, Unbreakable Topic. Good evening. Welcome, buddy.
Uncle, please, don't allow my mother to die. Uncle, please, don't allow my mother to die. Oh. You are my last hope, my last strength, my last hope.
We hear the show, buddy.
Uncle, please, don't allow my mother to die. Once to die, you got me again. He looked at the boy. He shrugged his head. He said, my son, I don't have money. You. I'm getting my salary by next month, oh, my son. I don't have money. Go tell your mama, say, I bet you up on
what a beautiful song here this evening.
The boy left.
Oh, man.
He started crying.
No hope.
He said, oh, God, Papa, God, this life is nothing. What will not become of my mother? Who would I for my mother? Before he reached out the hospital, his mother was gone. He took his phone. He started calling up phone.
Ladies and gentlemen, to welcome to the show. I am Alfonso Zienso, and this is today's editions of Lpr-Tv Live with the panelists. The panelists are here in full to discuss, dissect, and critical issues affecting our country. Welcome to the show. I am Alfonso Zienso of the Liberia Public Radio in collaboration with the panelists. They are here in full. Welcome to the show. Okay, good evening, folks. I'm Alfonso Zienso of the Liberia Public Radio and Lpr-Tv. We want to welcome our viewers and listeners across the globe. Thank you for joining us this beautiful Friday evening here in the East Coast. I'm not sure how it looks like, but I hope and certainly hope that everything is okay. Keeping it nice, easy, and simple here. TGIF, thank God it's Friday. Welcome, Allison, our valuable listener here, to our viewers, Mayors Trail, to Nancy, Quaint, and my own man, Joe Tiway, there with Trudeau in Canada, joining us here this evening. Time Alfonso Z and so. The program is divided into two segments. We're going to come in the community to see what the community is doing and folks that are making impact. There's a saying that's saying Liberians in the diaspora are not giving back home. That's certainly not true. There are a lot of Liberians doing an extraordinary job involved in changing lives in Liberia. And we're going to make it visible here this evening. Those that are in the front yard getting this going, they will be here. Mr. John Toyome is in neighboring Massachusetts, the neighboring state here. He's my special guest. And he's going to be telling us their engagement, what they are doing. We're going to be having a series of conversations with this here, but in order to sell a product, you have to introduce your product and let the buyers know the taste and the beauty, and then we can get down to it. Thank you so much. It's 7:22 Eastern Standard Time. Thank you for sharing your Friday evening with us. Let me leave Neil right here. He's my neighbor, so we're going to have a good conversation. However, some good questions will be asked because we are on an obligation to keep a proportional, fair balance for the good of our country and neighbor. Let me bring in Mr. John Yermin. He's my special guest right here this evening, appearing on the Liberia Public Radio to tell exactly what his network, his involvement of the network. So let me bring in, there you see it, Mr. John Yermin Jion is joining me from the Bay State, Massachusetts?
Yeah.
Yeah, are you a liberal or are you just in the liberal state?
kind of combination of both.
Combination of both. I love that. Okay, because you can't be there and say I'm not. Then maybe they're gonna say, you know what, you need to find out, you need to be relocated. Yeah, so. Okay, Mr. Yomin, thank you so much. It's better late than never. I guarantee you we're gonna be having a series of conversation here. Been so loaded with a lot of other stuff. So, but from what I see, it seems to be likable. But we're going to be having a series of conversation here that I can tell you. Okay, for the benefit of our listening audience public, please introduce yourself, and we will get right down to the wire.
Thank you so kindly, Mr. So. It's a pleasure being here this evening on the show. And I'd like to say thanks to everyone watching and everyone who has waited for a long time to see this happen. My name is John S. Emiomi Jr. I'm the executive director of the Liberia Research and Development Networks. And I like to say I am a passionate teacher. That's what I think is my best description. I love it. And I have signed up for that and always look forward to seeing how I can expand my network in helping our youthful population across Liberia. Thank you for the opportunity.
Okay, network. He didn't say in Benin. He didn't say in Burkina Faso. He didn't say in Guinea. He didn't say in Ukraine. But I did hear him saying in Liberia. That's the motherland. So meaning he's here, but he's also affecting and making changes in our country, which is a great thing. That disabused the mindset, the notions of people, everybody been put in a basket of deplorable that they are not doing anything in America. That I just heard Mr. Yomi saying the network to be in Liberia. Okay, let's unveil, let's open this box here a little bit for the good of our audience. LRNDN. Uh, Give a little bit historical setting here. What prompted this initiations or creations of this network? What were the compelling case, determining factors for which you decided to do what you are doing right now?
So I like to say LRDN, I don't want to take the credit for it. There's a team of young people who have come together to believe that research is a very important aspect of nation building. And without understanding the rudiments of research and raising the population that is very sensitive to research, most of the policies people will want to design and implement into a particular country will not be fully successful. So back in 2017, a group of young scholars came together and said, this is just about time that we put together something that is going to expand the network of, say, research at different levels, at the institutional level, and building individuals into accepting and understanding what research actually is. And under the full team of research and development, which is one of their rising trends when it comes to national development and global politics and international relations as well. So this organization was established in 2017 to provide pathways in different aspects of research and to create a condition under which young people can grasp the concept of research from the very beginning and expand into the most specific aspect of research. So our motto is sourcing the actual solutions through research and development. Why did we choose the motto for our organization? We have been involved with a lot of community initiatives at various levels, and we've observed that politics has engulfed our country to a larger extent, and most of the decision-making processes have been marked by political self-aggrandizement, political self-interest, as compared to how policies should be derived from empirical observations and highly research-based or decision-making or initiatives. So we thought it was important to try to create a condition wherein young people can understand that making decisions should not be just from the blue sky or just from a rash conversation. It should be a guided process marked by empirical studies, basically under the context of research and development. So we started up. It was really hard because we have just come from our state. Most of us have come from abroad with fresh ideas and highly sensitive understanding of what research actually is. So we were trying to create an environment that was not accepting us, that was not giving us the opportunity that we've seen outside of our country. So it was more like not giving up. This is the status quo. We are testing to change. It's about how we can embark on it with a tactful approach, not to say this is the worst thing you have been doing, this is crazy, it's not acceptable, but to say, hey, These are things we've been doing for quite a long time. But if you can see some of the reasons why our country is lagging behind, is because we have not actually identified these processes. So it's more about having a healthy conversation, letting people know the change of mindsets. And we were so successful in the very first year. We got a major grant from the Chinese embassy, and we had a major leadership and development seminar, and that was aimed at helping young people to know that local community initiatives can help move a country forward. And we're using the Chinese case study. You can know the success of China, and we call that the Chinese miracle. Over the few years, they've been elevated in the areas of agricultural, technical education, both at the tertiary level and at the vocational level. They've expanded food security, they've expanded road connectivity, and have been a huge, huge factor when it comes to the current trend of, say, technology. So we're using that as an example with all of the, say, the arable lands in Liberia, the highly youthful population, the vast water sources, and everything that has to do with making the country successful, unlike the population being educated enough. So we had up to 25 people. I mean, it was really, really a major success story that prepared us to doing most of what we're doing today. So we sent out from our fair or vetting process, we sent out to the e-mention website. They were able to ask for call for application in less than 3 days. Mr. So and the rest of the people here were following this major show. We have more than 100 young people expressing their interest to be a part of that. So it only told us that these young people are waiting, they are happy, they want to see people reach out to them, as compared to the wild myth of young Liberians not being serious, not being willing to get into programs. So we had a major component of that program that had to do with volunteerism, which is one of our major factors for recruitment in our organization. So
Let
many
me hold you. Let me hold you there. It's getting to be quite interesting here. This is LPR. We don't do roller skating here and just go away until we reach to the day. And sometimes we interrupt, we intercept to have a conversation. And basically, it is meant to give our audience, our listeners, our viewer, a clear picture of the kind of conversations we always intend to have here. I'm going through the website here. I mean, it's eye catching, it's capturing, to everything here. But I just not one of those guys who can just get an A plus without going in there, because there's a saying that say all that glitter isn't gold, right?
correct.
Okay, so you use some strategic word here, guided research. One listening out there will try to be scratching their head. What is he researching? What is his what is this organization's, or what is his goal? What is the target group? And two here, we see a lot of good initiative comes in Liberian, talented, gifted young people involved in multitudes of roles. But sooner or later, politicians and the political aspects are infiltrated, and at the end of the day, these organizations or groups that we see coming out, in a sooner or later time, everything goes downhill. So let me ask, and you have the right, if you want to plead the fifth, you can do that. You are at liberty to do that as well. Is there any political nature attached to this group, or are you getting any political help that could potentially, in the short term, long term, that will compromise or kind of like put these great institutions, as far as I'm concerned, at risk? Mr. Yomi.
This is one of the questions who have looked forward to. And one of our major goals for this organization is to create alternative thinking processes across our country, because we've observed that one of the major problems of our country is heavily marked by the politics of our country. Politics is not just a unique thing to our particular country. People practice politics in different aspects. And from our understanding, most of our team members have either acquired the first or second degree, and we've been very engaged with the Liberian political system and have observed that one of the major problems in our country is the kind of politics we practice. This could be something I can expand or far more, but just to give you some little synopsis about it. Most of our political agenda are centered around re-elections. People say at the legislature, either at the lower house or at the upper house. I mean, this is something that we can open for a fair conversation. We've observed, so we are giving our observation that most of those whom have been clothed with the responsibility to formulate policies, which is one of the cardinal functions of the legislature, talking about lawmaking, all right, have been more or like centered around decision making that will just focus on their re-election. And I could give you a classical example. If you have a legislator, whether a senator or a representative, who is on a county seat, and the county seating is that decision or meeting that happens at the end of the year where
Right.
all stakeholders go and identify projects. And there are very significant counties like say Montserrado, Nimba, Bong, and Grand Bassa. These are counties that have had social development funds. And just to clarify, the social development funds come from the concessional agreement of these counties that have concessionaires within the counties, not just every county. And we
Right.
also have the county development funds that come from the national budget. So when these people go over there, it should be about what kind of short-term, medium-term, and long-term projects that will actually benefit the population. So it should not be about how someone feels like you must do something that is just cosmetic, it's not sustainable, it's not in line with the actual human sustainable development growth patterns about education, about health, about infrastructure, and now technology. But it's just about these little projects, little market buildings, or say bringing 150 young people doing roadside brushing and all of that. These are not sustainable projects. So most of the politicians have been able to utilize that to manipulate and get themselves in power. So it's about themselves. You see, within communities, most of the popular politicians are the ones who kids are going to better schools, they have better homes, they have better cars as compared to the voting population. So we say no, it should be about how people understand that you must go to school, acquire education, and have a fair opportunity of being recruited in the employment base based on merits. So if we have young people who we receive into our organization void of say party sentiments, void of tribal affiliations, void of religious affiliations, we
How
just
can
want to
you
say
how can you undo that, Mr. Yomi?
this is what we're doing. We have exerted ourselves to say, whenever we have an opportunity, we're going to make it open, we're going to make it very transparent and accountable. And when we start to do that, young people minds start to change. I don't know Mr. Yomi. Mr. Yomi is welcoming me to his organization or their organization because they have found out that I have a history of volunteerism. I have an average or grade point more than 85 or certain kind of characteristics that we have marked for the particular project. We are welcoming them. We are showing them love. We are telling them better things are possible if you become a responsible citizen. As a young person, integrity is important, honesty is important, focus on the education, hard work, dedication will get you there. We're not telling you going to press release today for party X, and if they didn't give you something the next day, party Y becomes the best party. It's hard, it's difficult, but it's because of the commitment and the desire to see our country move forward. We've been very consistent. So, just to your question, we are heavily convinced that it will be a gradual project, but we can make our youthful population to get emancipated from the issue of just personal glorification yielding towards the side of politicians in our country. And it's going to change. It's going to be a difficult thing, but we are committed, and some very good indicators have shown that we are on the right path.
Are they listening to you?
They are listening, but to be quite honest to you, some of our observations have proved that poverty is a difficult thing to address. I'd be very realistic
And
with you.
that was going to be this second one here because we have a situation in our country, in multi-world country, poverty it seems to put us in a situation to where our dignity is being compromised. Some do it on purpose and some do did not, because think about a young man, some have 3, 4, 5 children. We can't stop them from having that those sort of social to recreation. So as a result, it dictates to making informed decision, because someone is their sense of direction. Someone is getting them to, literally in remote to get them to do things maybe they could not do if they were independent people working and getting their regular earning. That is not happening. So bulk of these people, it makes it difficult. And the politicians have strategically positioned themselves to the extent that they become more dominant, more powerful. And the reason they're doing all of that is to have authority over the young people and to determine their direction. That is a very big and huge cutting edge to go through.
That is quite fair. But Mr. So and the rest of the people watching out here, I want to let Liberians know we have a great country. We have a very youthful population. And most of the youthful people growing up or must have been born over the past 10, 20 years have been born under the most harsh conditions around. They've been raised under the most harsh conditions around. So the way we expect them to think and act should be things that we should constantly remind them. We should provide a space for them. We should create opportunities of second chance for them, because their environment have not really been nice to them. That environment have not been very accommodating to them. They do things that they've seen around. See on the social media, there are kids who will be like chanting mode of battle crowds, because these are things they hear from early morning to the afternoons to the evening hours. All right. They're not hearing about policies. They're not hearing about childhood education and protection, social protection. They're not hearing about how you can leave from any aspect of the society and rise to the top based upon the talent, and the government is willing to help you. Young people are being trained and raised not because they have to wear a certain party t-shirt or something, but just to make sure that it is about our country. It is about the 15 political subdivisions. It is about the 16 tribes. So this is just something we want to talk about more and see how we can find better options to move our country forward.
You seems to uh, worry about the future of your country, the young generations. We always say, oh, the young people, they are future, they are the future generation. How can we be disingenuous when we call them the future generation, and the manner and context in which they have been treated, and they're not being given the fair opportunity to do things of their own, but rather the politicians strategically position themselves to be the guys to give them direction. What are you hearing from them directly? What are the burning issues they are putting forward to your organization?
So Mr. So, I'll tell you something very importantly, and I like to say it because I'm saying it with love. I'm saying it with honesty. Our youthful population have been deceived for a long time.
By
And
whom?
whenever you encounter these young people and show a true picture of being genuine, that's my word. I like being genuine and intentional. They
Let's
will
break it down
realize.
here. This network, we try to do it little by little, because the entertainment out there is too much. And so here we try to do less entertainment for our folks to get a good takeaway. He said the young people are being deceived for a long time. By whom?
Very long time.
By whom?
Very long time. For the most part, by the most powerful people in the country. And most of the most powerful people in the country have been the politicians. You don't have a lot of scholarly people. I go around, I do book reading. I go around, I do book chats. We go around, we do book readings and several other things that will attract change in mindset. You're not going to find a lot of young people come over there. But if there is a politician just going to, I mean, I like to be literate about this one, going to charge his phone in neighboring Africans and coming back, you find tons of young people going to receive him for what? Because that has been the condition created. They should be idolized. They should be worshipped. They should be given the highest sense of praise and worship. In our society, it has become a norm. Sociologically, it has impacted the young people. But if you had, say, a situation wherein you are giving free books, you are giving free pencils and copybooks and stuff like that, you're not going to have that inflow of young people. So we are trying now to change the narratives, because if you didn't have a sensitive population or conscious population, you're not going to have the kind of development you need. There are There are plethora of examples to give. There are schools that have been built, but our young people have not understood the way to maintain them. I mean, you can think, for example, or the vocational training center. If you went and saw how it looks now as compared to how it was delivered by the Chinese, it's a totally different thing. If you went and saw the University of Liberia, how it was turned over and how it looks right now, it's a totally different thing. And just before our very eyes, at the say the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, for example, at the Capitol building, for example, at the Temple of Justice, for example, at the current executive mansion, there sits the beautiful, once lovely University of Liberia is in ruins. There's no way to pretend about it. If you love education, if you want to see a country move forward, you cannot sit and see the university lie in ruins. So I'm trying to say the speeches and the policies they say the project are counterproductive to the actual happiness on ground. People are more like concerned of how much is put in the budget for vehicles, for travels, for DSA and all of that, as compared to how much should be put in the budget for research and development, competition for young people coming from across the country and computing new ideas. We're talking about STEM education. We're talking about project-based learning across various countries now adapting in Africa, but we are sitting in glorifying people for bringing hand pumps, pit toilets in the city of Monrovia. So that's not the way it should be. So all
How
we're
can
trying to
you, how can you change such a narrative? And
this
this
is
thing has been grounded, is embedded in the system for rack of ages. To break through that wall of Jericho or through that corridor now, that's the challenge. Why you
Mr.
trying to do
Mr.
that?
So, Mr. So, I'm very passionate about this thing. Our team is very passionate about this thing. And the typical example, how many times have I called you since we tried to make this happen? I have been consistent. I have been like saying, Mr. I have been praying and craving, Mr. So we need this opportunity. We need to speak to Liberia. We need to speak to Liberians in the diaspora that we have an opportunity. And this opportunity can be achieved by being very genuine and intentional and helping our young people have a change of mindset. We're not afraid. I mean, this is something we've prayed about and we are very convinced about. But the point here is to be very consistent and to be truthful very respectfully. We're not going to say people are doing the worst things because we want to be affiliated with a particular party or a particular religion. No, we want to be very objective as possible. And we have been succeeding in doing that. There are very young people who are volunteering, taking copybooks, pencils from across counties to make sure that help other people because we have actually indoctrinated them into the act of volunteerism and knowing that we can solve our problem. The fundraiser we're just going to talk about, the caption of it or the theme is for ourselves, by ourselves. When we create a condition wherein we can have a conscious population, those of whom who feel they are the most powerful will come to us for conversations. At the moment, we go to them. Whatsoever we want to do, we ask them. So they feel obligated, to doing things the way they want to do. Psychologically, they feel like everything is about them. That has been the platform created for not just the past 5 years, not just the past 10 years, it has been for decades in our country. So to make the status quo change, we must be very intentional about it and have a growth pattern. It's going to change. I can tell you it has happened in
You
other
are
places,
optimistic
but it's
that
about the
no
consistency.
matter how long it takes, it's going to change.
There must be continuous effort like we're doing right now.
Well, folks, I'm Afonso Zienso. This is Lpr-Tv Live with the panelists, but my special guest here today is Mr. John Yominjians, Executive Director, Liberia Research Development Network. Let's take a quick commercial break and we'll be right back.
I'm Yomin Jinian, Executive Director of the Liberia Research and Development Networks. Team LRDN extends profound thanks and gratitude to each one of you for the show of love and support to our ongoing fundraiser to enable us establish a multi-purpose computer facility in Liberia. This is very important for our youthful population in building into employable services. We are hoping to offer services in transcription, functional computer literacy, and that of desktop publishing and in other contexts of graphic design. We are very happy to share with you that more than 35% of our targeted amount has been raised through donation pledges and material support. And we are looking forward to your continued support to make sure we achieve this for our dear country, Liberia. It is on the caption of the theme, for ourselves and by ourselves. So we have to do it together. And I just want to say we can achieve this together as a great people, united with the fortitude to make our country a better place.
For ourselves and by ourselves. That is quite fascinating. It's strictly empowerment. It's for you. It's not for me. It's not for the elite, but it's for your very self, and it will be useful to you. Wow. What is it? What is the responses coming so far? And I
Yeah,
think we will try to do this routinely here. Yeah, go ahead, and then we're going to talk about engagement, and going to see how what are the numbers and how you can be reached as well in terms of contributions, what sort of contribution, and all of that. We can talk about that.
yeah. So, I mean, thank you so very much. I think that is one of the most important things we're here for. So, we as an organization have been involved with a lot of research projects. For the most part, are cover research projects. I think KMTV is doing a great job. They've lifted one of our original projects we did on the historical foundations of Liberia. Understanding these things are important to know how significant our country is. I think I also send that to you. And we have also been involved with helping young people understand the culture of research. Quite recently, we launched our youth journal, and it was under the theme of the Sustainable Development Goal, and we focused on inclusive education across Liberia. And we had several people apply, but two papers were finally presented. And I'm happy always to share that. You see this right here is one of our major outcomes for research, trying to make sure we can have young people who can actually adapt the concept of research moving forward. We don't want to pride ourselves to say we are the only authors in the country, we are the only researchers in the country, because it is annoying. People who were raised in the 70s and the 80s come up to say the current population is not active, they're not responsible, they're not smart, because they have had opportunities of going abroad and coming back, but they enjoy saying these things, not to even mention how much they've failed to help these young people. So we want to change the narratives. So now we have young people that we are already rolling out to say you're good enough, you're smart, you're a brilliant person, you are loved, you are respected, you are so amazing. We want to support you, support yourself, support the country, and move our country forward. So these are things we've been involved with. So our research base has been, for the most part, at Carver, and quite recently we've been doing publications to make sure that our country can be spotlighted and projected, because public diplomacy is very important. People must know about your country, they must know what you do and how you do, and give you that recognition. So that has been one of the most important things. So now we have a country that most of the schools, sad to say, I get emotional when I think about this one. Most of the schools have not prioritized the issue of referencing or academic referencing and several other things that are important to transition from high school to have a successful college life. So most of the people you find are living Liberia and going outside to structured societies where universities are highly empirical. You found a lot of struggles. It doesn't mean they're not smart. It doesn't mean they're not talented, but there are certain structures and patterns in universal standards that have been set and established. Without understanding them, you feel like you're not to that level. So they struggle a lot. So we try to make sure our young people are acquiring that. So with the current project we're doing, we've also observed that most of our young people are not computer literate. And this is the world of computer. This is the age of technology. So just by understanding, said Microsoft Word Suite and all of its application is a minimum requirement for going into the world of work. You want to make sure that certain things you have to do, save your files. Like now in the US, the use of Google Drive or Google or say documents, several things are things that are of minimum requirements. If you went to a job having the knowledge without these technical skills, you are steps below. So now Our universities are not prioritizing that. Our high schools least to talk about that. So now, how can we get into the communities? There are certain people in the next 10 years, if they didn't have free education for computer, they're never going to see the computer. I can assure you that there are certain young people, they would never see a laptop if they are not given the free opportunity, because those of whom they stand in the rain and the sun to vote for are not thinking about how community grassroots initiatives should be able to lift the average poor and getting out of poverty based on skills development. So we, as an organization with the motto saying we want to actually source the actual solutions through research and development, should not be marked by the many failures we've had through grant proposals, should not be discouraged by the many calls we've made on policy actors. We should always do that. So now we have an ongoing project. It's a multi-purpose computer facility that is around 20,775. People be like, how are you going to get it? We will achieve it. We have started on a very good footing, and that facility will be a very, very accessible, safe space for all Liberians. So now we have a space in Tinker Village in Monrovia. We have entered into a pre-contract. We have at least 20 computers there for training, and our target population will be mostly vulnerable young people and children of people who are unemployed, giving free computer literacy.
Vulnerable. I literally, if you talk to everybody out there to say they are vulnerable. So, what is the target group? What is their own criteria? I would say, because everybody, I mean, I don't want to sound so terrible, but if you went out there, you know, people know they all nearly everybody. If you were to do, if people were to do some sort of a statistics, you that figure would be over the top. So,
Yes, and I like that you say that.
what is
In,
a what is a rare line set people that you want to identify, how you want to go about to say, yeah, he is vulnerable, she is vulnerable, you are not, that's it's a challenge.
I
It
like
is.
I like I like that. And this is why training is very important in this great country, United States of America. No matter how educated you are, you go for routine training. And I had an opportunity to talk about the most vulnerable amongst the vulnerables.
Okay.
So yes, we will be targeting the most vulnerables amongst the vulnerables. So now, where we have the space for the sake of ownership, for the sake of, say, lifting up the environment, we will have unemployed families identify one or two students for free computer literacy. So if you are around the Tinker Village area, there is a fair opportunity for you. We will vet these people and make sure the families of these people are very, very much in a situation that is difficult, and with our intervention, because we want to make impact. With our intervention, they will not have computer literacy. And because of our intervention, they will have computer literacy, and that will serve as a basis for moving forward into other aspects of our information communication technology. Then now we will try to reach out. There are several new institutions that are helping our youth at risk. And that is a threat to our society. There's no way to shade it. There's no way to shy away from it. We have huge number of our very, very youthful population that have gone far from the normal sense of belonging. So how to get them back to the community? There are young people, there are older people who are helping to make sure these people can be brought back to a sense of normalcy, and how they can get back into the community through reintegration. So without providing skills after these people have come back to normalcy, there is a high propensity that they will go right back to what they've been doing. So our organization will reach out to some of these institutions. We've already identified a few. We're going to be making formal, say, or requests to them. Once they have done with the rehabilitation aspect of it, we will pick up from there to continue with the skills development aspect of it. That's the connection we're trying to build in our society, very realistically and very genuinely, to make sure that we can have some very instant impact in helping our society. I'm not saying a select portion of our society, our society. Then for sustainability purposes, we have a major aspect some of our partners have been encouraging us to do is called transcription. So another aspect of research, after interviews have been done, voice recordings, we have people who are going to transcribe that into actual text and have to complement the completion of that research. Not too many organizations in our country are doing that in the 21st century. So as a research organization, we have skilled people who already have identified young people, and we'll also be training new breed of people to do transcription, and it will actually be on a commercial basis to help sustain the lab, because we're going to be paying current bills, we're going to be paying water bills, we're going to be paying for the facility we're going to be using. We're going to have routine maintenance of the computers. We're going to have internet facility and all of that. So we're going to be very realistic in telling the public that we need the help, we need the support, but for a very good cost. So that would be one of that aspects of our program. And one of the things I really like to share, our organization has a charity initiative. We work with about 11 schools across Magibi, Bong, and Nimba. So now most of these people complain about report cards, out of documents. So now we're going to train these young people and understand how we encourage them to do volunteerism. And these young people will be able to help at the end of every school year to do report cards, to do other special notes for these schools we work with, just to make sure that people can be respected, they can be loved, they should not be dashed away. And when the time comes for elections, they be giving t-shirts and giving rice in plastic bags in the manufacturing just because they can't afford to go on just accepting them. No, we've been honest, we've been, very realistic about things in our country. The good thing I'd tell any young person or anybody who wants to do change in the country: be kind, be respectful, and be honest. I can say this to anybody of any party, and I can have a respectful and honest conversation with you and say, we have a lot of potentials. Flying around, having parties, giving gifts that are not sustainable to young people will not be the way out. We must design policies, and through these policies, young people should have the opportunity to go to school, whether locally or internationally, come back, have a fair opportunity without any political alignment to work to the sustainability of our country. And that's what we do at LRDN. And I can tell you, Mr. So, and all those watching, we've been doing this for years, and we will continue with the help of God. I can tell you within the next 3-4 months, we'll have a very functional computer lab, and we will expand into reading spaces. We expand across the country, and it will be another growth corridor for identifying skilled and talented people. That's our goal, and we are working on it. It is working.
What I thank you so much. Been very very much elaborate with the mission of LRND, LRNDN, if we were to call it. How you computed? So, who are your supporters? Where do you get this hand? And I know because similar things that we do. I'm sad. Liberian can give some. Yeah, they are good one. I'm not gonna sit here and say that they can give. They can give, but sometimes it becomes difficult, and you can't blame them too because they are invested into other people and no result, no accountability. So that natural apprehensions will always exist. Oh, we have heard this before. Oh, this thing that's not the first time. Oh, see the other one where he coming from again. Oh, he want to go back your thing. He putting together, and names to be called and all of that. So for that, auto creates that sort of artificial lepers of hands, fingers. They're gonna hold fire with whatever they want to get until they can see what is best. Uh, Computer is costly. Uh, and I like the theme or the motto. What you say? What say again? For
For
you,
ourselves, by ourselves.
for ourselves, by ourselves.
Yeah.
That's great. Um, who knows? There are people listening out there. There are some folks here have 2, 3 laptops, desktop or whatever, it's in good shape, just to get because they get new ones, so they just get one, throw it somewhere, sitting down and looking forward where to get it. Do you receive donations? Not just any kind of thing. Let me just tell you, don't give something that you know you say can't use, or when you will put your 10-finger plug through there to put a switch button on, it can't come on. If you know very well the life in it for a no it not it online support, it can be resuscitated, don't give it. Yeah, it gives something that will be usable. Do you receive such, and how can they connect with you?
Yeah, Mr. So I'll tell you the truth, right? You see, as in jazz as I am right now, it has been because of the show of love and support. We launched this project on the 10th of December 2022, and with the goal of acquiring uh, $20,775 on the night of the launch. We raised a little over 6,000 without going and saying we want to pledge support to somebody or we want to endorse somebody. Liberians, our benefactors, they saw the need. They came about. I can call a few names. One of our major benefactors, like Mr. Aaron Zuo, who is a CEO of a major plumbing company here in Massachusetts, a Better Business Bureau, uh, Marketplace Excellence finalist, a very, I mean, proud Liberian we associate with, has been one of our major factors. Several other young people came on, and we have four persons. And I love to say this way. And these four people, if we want to do this again, we will ask them because they have proven to be very dedicated. They have proven to show the line of character, and we have them as our proud organizers. I can call a few of the names, of all of the names. We have Mr. George Flomo. He's one of our very, very supportive persons. He put his face on these flyers you can see over here, making sure they are committed to it, and their face have also brought some credibility to what we're doing. We have Hawa Menza. She's one of the popular advocates. We want to identify with people who are very, very organized and willing to help. We have Hawa Yomi Mo, a very famous person on Facebook. We have our dear friend Musa Willie, who is the president of the Bombing Association in the Americas. These are the people who are actually controlling our funds. We are not saying do it and give it to us and we're going to go tomorrow. No, these people collect the funds. When it comes to the point that we have to make a request to them, we make a request, go and actually implement certain projects and get back to them. So we want to continue this fundraiser all through this month and make sure that we can have a certain amount and we can get to the work started in Liberia. And just to talk about, we've gotten up to 15 pieces of computers
Hmm.
just by donations. I'm not saying garbage computers. I'm saying fairly used computers. All are not brand new, to be honest with you. But these are computers that will give that sense of belonging to a lot of young people in our country. Some will be touching the computer pads or keypads for the first time in their life. So whatsoever contribution they have made is very significant, is life touching. So we are open to that. We have also received a projector that we're going to use for training, and it's happening. It is just falling into place because we have shown to the public that we want to do it for Liberia, not for ourselves, not for our names, but for our country that is so much in dire need. Computer literacy is like near like yesterday in our country. We need it. We must do it. So we are calling on all well-meaning Liberians with no screen attached to help this project. I think I sent the information in our chat about the contacts for Zelle, for Cash
Yeah,
App, for
is it?
mobile money.
Let me see. I'm wondering what is on this flyer.
Yes, it's
Yes,
right there.
it's on this flyer.
You
But
can
I,
just disregard the date over there, but all of the contacts are there. Please, man, if you love Liberia, if you love the young people, this is one of the best opportunities. We are available. We put our time into this, we put our resources into this, we put everything for our country. Let's do this together. This is a fair chance to make your country a better place, and your every cent, your every material that will be, donated will actually stand out and we will achieve this together.
okay. I let me just keep this here a little bit. I want to. Okay, no, let me just move it. I can get it from my phone. Okay, to our contributors, our analysts, the link. Mr. Yomin, please don't hesitate to hang with the analysts here tonight. The panelists, the contributors, they're going to be joining us here very soon. So I made it clear in the first segment, going to be to have this, and they too going to come and for also have a dialogue, and that's what Liberia Public Radio is all about. I'm going to be putting this cash app Zelle number out. If you are touched, and you should be touched, Don't hear cash out and Zelle and then we don't usually do that here. Before LPR posts any cash out Zelle out number yet, it means there's a lengthy conversation behind the scenes. So
we are honored.
If you have followed the tradition of this network, we are now one of those favorite. Not that we don't want. Who say we don't want to beg? We ourselves drowning. We need help, but sometimes it's good to do it for others. And I told my guys here before we do it, they gotta see ourselves. And I'm gonna be like a guy who wants to get married. He ain't booked the hall. He ain't get no ring. The woman said, I agree. And he say you want to marry them. I don't hear you get married when you don't get everything. Say you don't even get camera man. And you say you want you want married.
I like that.
Yeah. So So please, I'm gonna be putting the number out here and for you to it's not just only tonight, but if you are touched by this conversation here tonight, you can act as well. That's great. Give. We got to give and forget about what's going to happen and let it plays out by itself. I might be forced to put this number back here. Okay, let me just come back here to this here.
Yeah. And Mr. So, if anybody interested in making a donation, there are cash app number there. You can just call Mr. Willie. He will get in touch with us, and we'll be happy to receive that from you.
Okay. Is it Mr. who? Mr. Willie?
Yeah, Musa Willie.
Oh, Musa Willie. Okay, Musa.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I didn't charge this phone tonight, my God. All right, let me see here. I'm trying to go to the fly here and get this number here. Okay. Okay, so are there beneficiaries right now in Liberia? How many persons so far you are dealing with in Liberia?
So we have a team of 10 young people who work with as volunteers, and across people who have been benefiting from our book charts, our copybooks distribution are in the thousands because we work with several schools. We just go out there, make sure we get things to them. Like in the next 2 weeks or so, we'll be going out again to distribute copybooks, pencils, and just not just the amount we gave, but to give that psychological sense of belonging. Because most of our people have been disappointed, they've been deceived, they've been left along the wayside. We just go and say, we're doing this for you. You can believe in yourself, you can be a great person, but just make sure that you help back when you have the opportunity to do that again.
Okay, we're going to take a break. This one, Liberian is quite amazing. So Liberian in the diaspora are involved in multitudes of roles to make some sort of interventions into what is happening in our country. It doesn't matter that the miles been thousands of miles away. Visual education, they try to be illustrative to educate people what to do, not necessarily good, but to be a kind of open eye here. This one here is from another young Liberian lady who is also concerned about the directions of the country, and her foundations is also urging, telling people, make a good decision in voting, because all of these things we will not talk about it would take time to make a wise decisions, have an extensive conversation with those who wants to be a sticker. This one is coming from the Bunky Foundation. Let's take a quick break and we'll be right back.
Team Steve Bunky.
It's Magnetic on the beat.
That's the colors we make. Can't bet you tomorrow. Don't sit home, go and vote. Don't sit home, go and vote. The decisions we make. Can't bet you tomorrow. Don't sit home, go and vote. Don't sit home, go and vote. This is the time we can make use of. Yeah. This is the season that your vote can bring a change. Yeah. The vote is in your hand. The vote is your power. Don't sit home, go and vote. Don't sit home, go and vote. You will be frustrated. You will be disappointed. Don't sit home, go and vote. Don't sit home, go and vote. Think my children's future. Your one vote can make you better. One vote is a power. Your one vote is a strength. Don't sit home, go and vote. That is the orders we make. Can't bet you tomorrow. Don't sit home, go and vote. Don't sit home, go and vote. The decisions we make. Can't bet you tomorrow. Don't sit home, go and vote. Don't sit home, go and vote. Mañana Go and vote, let's go. Paper riders, sunset moon, taxi drivers, go and vote. Take care riders, sunset moon, disabled people, go and vote. Hey, go and let's go to my Yana boss. And my some people, sunset moon, and my market here, go and vote. Oh my Mbappe, go and vote. Man, disabled people, sunset moon, go and vote. Let's say Java, sunset moon, my Pempe riders, go and vote. Take care riders, go and vote. Go and vote. The decision others will make can't let you tomorrow. Don't sit home, go and vote. Don't sit home, go and vote. The decision others will make can't let you tomorrow. Don't sit home, go and vote. Don't sit home, go and vote. To my Liberian people, I beg you, don't say I'm going anywhere again to vote. It's time to correct your mistake. It's time to join the queue and vote. The decision Brother Mauro will make, they can easily affect you. Please get your voter cards and go at the polling center and vote. Please, my people, a message from Madam Timandra Siabonge and the Bonge Foundation.
What? There you see, Liberians in and out or in the diaspora, the Stanley Bunker Foundation, they are worried about the future of the country. There are other people we sit and talk to people. I don't go into if you don't. I mean, if you don't vote, no matter what, you will. I mean, it affects you. So why not take the time? I know it's sort of frustrating and challenging from past history and all of that. Well, I did it before, and he or she promised is going to do this. That shouldn't deter anybody. We should create this awareness. And this is a very beautiful, effective. It's not telling anybody, go vote for this party, go do this one here. It's just telling you to exercise your God-given birthright. Go and vote. Decide. Make that decision. Do not allow anybody, people to just take authority of you, because at the end of the day, they become like your Antonin. You're not going to do anything. They decide for you. What our contributors, they are coming. Our analysts, pundits, they are coming. They're going to join this conversation. Mr. Yomi going to be hanging with us here this evening until some point in time. But we're going to be putting the number all here as well, Cash App. And moving forward, this commercials, his commercial as well, we're going to be playing it, and now you're going to be reaching out to them. I'm Alfonso Zay, and so it's 8:15 Eastern Standard Time. One of our contributors is here joining us from Sacramento, California. And we're going to be bringing her in here this evening as later on before we wrap up with Mr. Yomi, and then as usual, we'll go down the hill where we usually go. But let me just bring in Otilia Jar is a contributor of the Liberia Public Radio, and she's based in California. Is joining us this beautiful, beautiful Friday evening here. TGI, thank God it's Friday. Okay, all right. So yeah, gonna be breaking out here very shortly, and we will be having this conversation as well, and then later on we're going to pivot into some of our talking points. Let me just give for a little bit break. Yeah, just carry on a few seconds. I'll try to make sure and put his number here as well for the for those who will want to the donation. Sister Goya is also here. Okay, let me just bring in Sissy. In the meantime, what I've tried to put this number here. I'm quite sure people get their fingers, hands set on their Cash App. They'll, paying there to throw in whatever they can give. Please, just give it. Do it for Liberia. People are making sacrifice. Let me go to Minneapolis to bring in our senior contributor, Mr. Sissy Goyata, always involved in multitudes of roles and giving back to the community. Hey, Sissy, good evening and welcome.
How you doing, Mr. So? Hey, my brother, Mr. Yomi. How you doing, man?
Good to see you, Mr. Goya. It's a pleasure.
Okay. So, Sissy, you've been listening, and in fact, you create this connection. As a matter of fact, let's give it up to you. Thank you. Always out there looking for the good of Liberia. But you've been listening to Mr. Yomi, and I guess you've been following the work of this organization, correct?
Well, I haven't per se followed the work most recently,
Let me see. I believe Attilas is
but
ready. See what I can bring in. Yeah, go ahead.
I have followed the work of Mr. Yomi personally. He's an author. I bought his book, one of his books. He's a diplomat. He's a foreign service personnel. I full disclosure, he actually contacted me. And funny enough, when I was running for city council in Brooklyn Center, I get this strange call. And guy said, "Yo, I'm a Liberian." I don't know, you were in Liberia at the time, John, when you come in?
I was actually here.
You had just come.
Yeah.
Yeah, he said, "My man, I came from Liberia recently. I came across your name."
Okay, let me bring OJ into this fry here. She's already here as well. Okay.
He said, I just came across your name, and you're running for office in Minnesota. You're a Liberian. I'm proud of you. I don't live in Minnesota, but how can I help? That's the major brain do like, bro. Maybe so. How can I help? That kind of moved me, and then him and I talk about his passion for education, and ever since then we managed to keep in touch casually. But I do know of him. I have a lot of respect for this young man. So
Thanks for your kind words, Mr. Guia.
All right, thank you so much. Okay, OJ, good evening. Welcome. Look at your microphone.
I'm muted. Hi, guys. Good evening. Happy Friday.
Thank you. Same to you.
Happy Friday from Los Angeles. That's where I'm based.
The holiday before MLK weekend, so I got a long weekend looking forward to.
Nice. Lucky you.
Monday's a holiday, right?
It's a holiday, so yeah.
Oh, man, so you get it. You're gonna water it down in the basement and everything. No, getting your early morning to go to class and say, "Oh boy, it's getting interesting, man." My goodness, you mean you are about to see the owners and the folks that own this network? They are here, and please just bear with us. Sometime you understand and deal with that. The doyen of the network himself is here. What kind of color he wear? Where's that?
I was coming out. What am I big going to know?
You coming Bear Royal? You coming Bear Royal? Sounds into that. Hello, Mel. The man from Tota. The Lepra, good evening.
Good evening, Mr. Soul. Thank you very much.
So, Yomi is here with us this evening, and we having this beautiful conversation. So,
if Mr. Soul, if I may ask for 1 minute or so of your time.
Do what?
I want to tell you the purpose of wearing what I'm wearing right now.
What is that?
It's a vest you wear out. Exactly.
I love it.
That's good. It's a vest that I'm very proud to wear. The reason I'm asking you to give me 1 or 2 minutes of your time, I just want to say this, not that I'm boasting, but that's just to say to the young people, once you put yourself into something, it doesn't matter what type of study you have. It doesn't matter whether it's in the village of Town Town. It doesn't matter whether you're a cook. But when you decide to do it with your might that God has given you. And so, Mr. So, in this engineering business, the guy that you always see me, Robert Mugabe, I call him, but his actual name is Tunja, Kidianga Tunja. He's from Congo. So he and I, we've been working together for the last 20-some years, but we were asked to do a bridge work over there in the north, and we did it and did it real well. And so when they got ready to do another bridge work, we got 12 districts in the state of California. We have over almost 40,000 engineers, but they decided to come to Robert and the Total man. And we had a meeting, the contractor for that bridge I'm talking about, going to start very shortly. And we have a partner meeting yesterday. And the question was, who are the design engineers? And I didn't say anything. Robert didn't say anything. Our supervisor didn't say anything. It was the folks in the north says Samson and Robert, and they are very, very good. I mean, to have peers of engineers to recognize your work in this engineering business, to say that you are good. Furthermore, from Tour Town of all places, and you have people over there in Eureka telling me I'm good, I have to wear this vest. And that's what I'm wearing this vest. I'm just one. I'm not saying it because I want to toot my own horn, but as a Liberian, anything you do in this country, anything you put your hand in, do it well and be recognized, because nobody from Liberia, I doubt it, if anybody from Liberia will ever see what they call Smith River or what they call Dr. Fine Bridge. Nobody gonna drive on that unless you're going to Oregon driving 101. Other than that, you're not gonna see it. You know, so but I did it. And people out there, they're very proud of me. The community is very proud of me. They don't even know where I come from, but they're very proud of me. So I just want to make that clear. The reason why I'm wearing this vest here. And by the way, it's class 3 vest. It's class 3 vest. And you want to know why they call it class 3? You see this line here, 1, and then 2. Then they have another one, 3. So they have 1 here, 2, and then 3. That's why they call it class 3 vest. If you have class 2, 1, 2, that's it. But if you have the reflectors 3 times in places, that's why they call it class 3 vest. But I just want to say that. Thank you very much. Let's start the show. The Liberal is ready tonight, and I'm not pulling punches. This is not a place that I come and make friends. This is no kumbaya here. We're discussing Liberia issue, and I'm quite ready. I'm so fired up, Mr. So. I don't know what's going to happen. Good thing your buddy, your patron is not here tonight because I'm fired up. I'm tired with the ANC business. I'm fired up. Let them bring it up. Let them bring it up. I'm with Dr. Baga again.
Keto Usunko again. Tell him, Mr. So. Keto Usunko.
Okay. All right. Thank you. All right. We have maybe a couple of minutes. Mr. Yomi going to be here, and then we're going to pivot. But in the meantime, yeah, Liberal Tie, congratulations. And Robert, he's a very nice guy. We are proud of you. You know, I think it's sometimes helpful when you have people who are willing to voluntarily. Sometimes I flip up and they say, "Oh, don't get mad," because we have talked to our leaders behind the scene, in public, and people willing to help. They're just willing to do it for the good and still. So it's kind of like, I don't know, but hopefully somebody at some point in time will listen. Let's spend our few time and then we'll pivot. We're talking about another Liberians making an impact here. Okay, that's it. You mean make sure and double check those numbers too if they are correct, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Donations to contact LRDN, that's the Liberia Research Development Network, correct?
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. And you listened to him, the group already here. We're going to be talking about that until that. For those of you that are listening, please, we don't usually bring people here for you to give. Before we do that, we make sure we verify and we talk to them as well, because we don't want people to take Liberian people kindness for granted and just dump your little nickel or cent, dump your money, give your money where it will be properly accounted for, and you will hear from them. You're giving money to people and you give it in a 10-year bag and that's it. You go ask them and say, you're not paid, don't ask me. It's wrong. It's wrong. So it makes it difficult when the real people come, real people in the sense that those who want to deliver, impact people's lives. There are concerns about the future of the country, especially with the young generation. It makes it difficult. But you heard him, he's taking laptops. Are you taking like desktop too, or just strictly laptop?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, these numbers are that they can call and reach to just in case somebody want to.
Yeah.
Okay, and let me see what's the name on it. Yeah, but just call those numbers. Bottom line, you're going to talk to somebody. And please, if you want to know more, is how we cannot conclude everything, but routinely we're going to be having here for us to have this conversation. I think it's much worth it because it's eye-opening to our generation, to the country. Giving good sense of direction for people to do what they're supposed to do. I don't know what's going to happen right now. Somebody were praying, but Lord God not answer their prayer. So, yeah. So, call those numbers. Make your donations. If you need to know more about the organizations, you are at liberty. You can talk to Mr. Yomi. You can talk to other people as well that are part of this organization. But what I can tell you from what I see and the folks I know most, and I know when Sese is part of something, then he ask all the 15,000 scientific questions. He now ask all of the questions to give you a support, to even create that connection. Okay. Well, they are here. The man from the far right is here. I don't know whether there's going to be a change in tune by the laborer here. Amos George, my good friend and brother, Mr. George, Amos George. Good evening. Welcome. And I will say happy Friday. Happy Friday to you. Let's go to Garden City. The birthday lady is back after a real jam party. I think the voice is back here with us. Koto Jara is here. Man, woo! The birthday was crazy. Was crazy. Emma, good evening. Welcome.
How you doing? How you doing, Mr. Yomi? So I had a fun
Thank
bar by
you.
the time
Thank
you
you.
start laughing at me.
How they want? How you see the American? He's happy for already. He first, and then we hello.
Hey, Lee, Sese, leave alone,
Francis was talking. By the
leave
time you
alone.
start laughing, like, oh Lord, yeah.
You see
Sese,
my own
leave
problem.
alone, leave alone.
I will need a policeman. I will need a policeman.
Leave alone. Y'all leave it with me.
Francis don't not buy your trouble. All right, Francis said you must leave me, so he not buy your trouble. You can't do anything. You cry, you cry.
Big yo, we get visitor. Sansin to Amos Joy.
You leave with me.
Oh, we're so all with me. Yeah, I can start. Okay, Koto, how are you? Good evening. Welcome. We're seeing the remnants of the birthday is still flourishing. We claim it here as well. Good evening. Welcome. Okay, this is the number that the Zelle number 267-808-1019 is the same as the Cash App. If you are touched by the conversation here this evening, and if you have more to follow up, maybe there are other questions that you want to answer, but I can guarantee that we will still get to Mr. Yomi to reach out here. We will be having these conversations routinely. It's not going to be a one-shot event, of course, and then we're going to be having this to do it. We ourselves will try the best way we can. Our job is to give and let the result prove itself. So that's the number there, folks. The Zelle number is 267-808-1018. It's the same as the Cash App. He also takes donations, laptop, desktop, if you want to. That's fine. Let's have it. Oh, it's 8:30, man. All right. So, yeah, you mean, yeah, come guys. I believe some of you been following. Yeah, but you mean, why you which we have talked about that perhaps we are not really touched on it. But I guarantee you, though, whether in your absence, we're going to be talking about this, and hopefully the other team members again, we're going to have an exclusive. This time around, we're going to do it, and maybe I see and have it just quickly. So fundraiser. Our job is to do the talking and let the members be touched based on the information provided, and they can make a timely intervention. But what really you still want Liberians to get, those folks that are still here with us? Your microphone is unmute. Your mic.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. So, and welcome to the rest of the panelists. Like I have initially stated, we should be very intentional about what we want to do in Liberia, because for a long time in our country, we've not focused on the most important things, especially in the sector of education and youth development across our country. So when we are talking about youth development in the 21st century, it's not just about having young people going to say public buildings and doing roadside sweeping and brushing on a temporary basis and people being paid just what they want to give to young people, but it's about identifying a sustainable pathway to seeing how our young people can be recruited in different factions. There are some young people who are very talented. They should be recruited on a different basis. There are some people who are not very talented but very willing and disciplined. We should find sectors for each one of those who are available for our workforce. Workforce development in this country, the United States of America, in other structured societies, are major basis for which you have people transition from, say, high school to uh, say other aspect of tertiary and that of technical vocational education. There must be a transition. There are times you're going to have people struggling to doing just resume. You must have seminars, talk to them, career development, career choices. What are the things to do at this point in time? Most of our young people, not being disrespectful to them, they go into public administration, sociology, very good. But if you want to talk about the competitive things to do, like in ICT, we want to talk about various things of system building or digital marketing and things that are actually trending right now. Technical vocational education. Why should we have people come from Ghana, Nigeria to drive trucks in our country? So we are trying to say right now, we want to give that space that young people can come and interact competitively and see how the real world works. They should come and have a space that they can feel loved, feel cared for, and provide that sense of understanding that they can be responsible citizens. So this project is going to be open to all Liberians. For the most part, like I mentioned to you, the most vulnerables amongst the vulnerables going to be prioritized because we want to empower people. We want to lift the life of people out of poverty. So we must give them that kind of psychological sense of belonging and give the technical skills that are required to make a healthy living. You must have a livelihood to make it in this life. So the skills are required. Computer literacy is fundamental. We're going to focus on it. We're going to give the space, and hopefully we're going to expand across various counties in our country. So all I can tell you with what we've been doing, we're very confident. We will remain very ethical. We will remain very impartial. We will be very dedicated and show the kind of love young people should receive to aspire for greater heights in our society.
So Mr. So, let me just rush into this here very quickly because listening to him, it seemed to, and you know me, I mean, I quit to get pulled by the kinds of smart talking young people, and I'm very impressed. But what I want to ask is, young man, though, must you wait until LPR invite you on LPR show to do this wonderful program? Why can't you, Mr. So has a free free time on LPR on Thursday? Why don't you try to connect with Mr. Soul to see if you can have your own broadcast on LPR every Thursday and try to enumerate all of these things that you're talking about and try to expand on them and give more insight? Because it seemed to me that you are very much more, I mean, just I've been listening to you 2-3 minutes, but I don't mind putting my foot in my mouth and be ridiculous. That's what I do. I'm very good at. Mr. So the liberal is speaking to this young man who is so much impressive. Please let me. I don't want that man to say, "Oh, the man talking to me say ain't no bogo." I know small bo. I'm from high school, but no. On a very serious note, why don't you see if you can have a program here on the Thursday, if you have the time, that is, and be able to encourage more young people to listen to you, and perhaps you will be able to help us to carry the message forward. I think that would be my suggestion. You know,
this is a breakthrough for me. I usually do that on Thursdays and Fridays. I do my regular book readings. This has a copy of my book over there. I'm working on the second one with my publisher. We talk more about Liberian politics, diplomacy, and youth development. So I will be so honored. And I can tell you, everyone who's on this platform, we are very convinced that our young people can go the right direction if they are constantly engaged and seeing how to find better opportunities and options as compared to like just being bad to us, being battlecrat, chance people, and all of that. We have the strength to do it. We have the opportunity to do it. If we didn't do it, we would be failing our young people. So I'm more than honored to do that.
Okay, I think I will have that discussion with the rest of the LPR crew, and I'm sure Mr. So will pass that information on to you. I'm running my mouth here because I'm not the one who called the shot. I play one on TV. I'm not a real CEO, but I play one on TV. So I hope you understand that I have no power. Let me just tell you right away. But I'm so impressed.
Thank you. Thanks for your kind words.
Yeah,
Mr. So, Mr. To, first thing to Mr. Tour, we value you on this network. I've always told you, you're one of those older people that I look up to. Simply, I'm drawn to you because you're an engineer, and that's my thing.
Hey, at
And
least.
no, I gotta be fair. The work he does, I disagree with him who do politics, but the engineering part, he is he's a trailblazer, and these are the kind of gems that go unnoticed in our community. And for your recognition, I say hats off to you. I congratulate you. I appreciate you, Chief. You're a true gem of the Liberian community.
Thank you. Thank you.
So back to Mr. Yomi. I've listened to him a lot on his Thursday podcast he does. I plug in, I listen to him, and he's a very articulate young man. I will donate, but let's talk offline. I'm sure I can be of major help to your cause as far as linking you with people who can open doors for you. I might not be able to give you a whole lot personally, but I can make introductions in places that will give you access to educational materials and especially the technology. And the reason I'm drawn to this stuff is, I was just at a conference and we're talking about at a math conference. We're talking about the top 10 skills that will be needed for 2025. The World Economic Forum came up with that. And most of the things there talk about analytical thinking, innovation, active listening. But there are a few parts that talk about, for example, technology use, monitoring and control, technologies design and programming, and just reasoning and problem solving skills. Those are things that the United Nations is saying that is going to be required. Those are skills that are going to be required of everybody for the top jobs beginning 2025 and forward. And so, if we are to empower our people in Liberia and stop telling everybody to go make farm, I said agriculture is for everybody, and we try to demean agriculture, is to give people these skills that we know is transferable. Real quick. A lot of Liberians, when they come from Liberia, when they come to Minnesota, they end up in my school. A lot of these kids come from SOS and all these other heavy institutions, and they are blind to technology. They come here in the school, say, here's your laptop, here's your assigned laptop, here's your assigned tablet. The kids struggle. They struggle. Just sitting to even write, to type on their computers, to submit homework and assignment is difficult for them. They struggle deeply. And so creating that ability back home, the reason I'm going to be invested in this is because it is personal. It makes my life easy when those kids get hit. It makes my life very easy. So investing in them now, so it makes their life easy. Yeah. And the other thing is, hopefully this will be a beginning point where we start to build people up and start to carry these things into schools, so that STEM schools it doesn't be like just one STEM school. That MCSS schools can be all STEM schools. That you can have these students who go into those places and still be able to do the work. I was impressed when you talk about the community service piece that's involved in this, where they be printing report cards and other things. Yeah, people take that for granted here, but that is a skill that is vastly needed in Liberia. And so my hats off to you. I will support it. Let's talk on the flip side. I don't want to announce here what that will be, but let's talk on the flip side. We'll try to see how we can get those computers and other stuff, and maybe even try to see how we can get people who are going to be teaching to make sure that they are trained properly, so that they're not, just only teaching the thing they know. Somebody who only got their homework and they're only teaching the homework that they saw, and you ask them more technical questions and they kick you out of the class, they go home, they begin to don't come back for 2 weeks, So we try to make sure we at least can find a way to train the trainers so that they can make sure they're delivering service. And hopefully this can be something that seeps into all of our schools, seep into the counties. And as we were talking, I was even thinking about our prison, seep it into the prison, because we send people to jail, they serve 4, 5, 6 years, they come out, no skills.
Yeah.
And they come back and all they have to do is to carry on another act of crime and go back. What happens when you have those training in those prisons so that people come out and have a better outlook on life, so that they try to get away from whatever got them into prison?
Right.
My hats off to you. Let's talk behind the scene.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Holidays. Well, let me bring in Dr. Taranka is here, but if you want to respond,
Can I ask a question, please?
Oh, sure.
Okay,
Okay.
I want to say thanks to the LPR family. I will highly appreciate, you guys for recognizing my birthday. And they were like, "Oh, where is this place you having your birthday?" And they all, publicizing it. And I highly appreciate it. I want to say thank you, Mr. So, and the rest of the LPR family for recognizing my birthday on that day and the occasion. Uh, okay, then sorry I haven't been on because I had a poor quality voice. I don't know whether it's a little better now, but I think it's a little better. I had a bad, voice, but I think maybe it's bad a little bit, but I think I can manage with this now. And I want to say thank you to my brother Yomi or my son Yomi. And I love to see young, motivated guys, especially in the IT level. And I have one of my I will not call their name because we're politics. I have a 24 years old and then a 32 years old that I greatly involved in the IT era in Liberia. But my question is, which one of the organizations in Liberia that you are connected with the youth there that you actually doing this program through that you are discussing here today.
So our primary organization is Liberia Research and Development Networks. That is the one I belong to, and we collaborate with other organizations like Youth for Change. And quite recently, we started an informal collaboration with Orphan Concerns, and we have already been engaged with Monrovia Reads. These kind of sensitive legacy-related programs, but our primary organization is Liberia Research and Development Networks, and we've been incorporated since 2017.
Okay. And I've actually been involved with this. I don't know whether anybody remember, but since 2009, I was involved in educating youth to the point that I even had it was like a free of charge that we contributed towards young people and even to schools that we gave to those that have high grades we contributed that. And I highly believe in technology, especially computer technology, because I think for this level, we have to go to that level because everywhere, everything that you do now is done technically, and we have to be in technology now at a broader level. But we see that our country right now is actually at a growing stage, and not if it is not at a lower level. But I think that is very important, and I want to say thank you for that uh, program. I Even as I'm sitting here, I still have a school that I still sponsoring to teach computer, on a lower level because we have um, the it's not actually technology, but software. We teach in software, and also on the technology level, they're trying to go to programming, but not many yet because of the condition in Liberia. Not many going to that level. They only on software learning. And they can't go to programming and other stuff. But I want to say thank you for taking that initiative because that's where we want our young people to start going. Instead of being behind our politician, we hear all the day Zogwe, Zogwe, and that is the serious problem I see happening now. And we could really, focus their direction to where you are. Let them focus on that side and be behind, or say, whole day behind politicians. It is destroying our country right now. So thank you, Yomi, so much. Maybe I have
Okay.
one question, but let other people come in, then we'll go in detail.
Yeah.
Thanks for your kind
Is it
words.
possible you can pump your camera up a little bit? Go to
Me?
yeah, the camera to. There you go. Okay, something. Alrighty. I want them to just okay. Dr. Taranka.
Okay.
Yeah, much better. Good evening and welcome.
Thank you. Welcome,
Yeah,
welcome, welcome,
I'm saying
everyone. Thank you.
2023 fresh, brand new in all of you guys. I see the energy and more things are probably going to be happening here. Okay, you mean What could be your final word? My guys are here. This train is about to derail, and I don't want you to be part of this train here when you're ready to go downhill here because it's gonna get dicey. But like what Libra said, I'm gonna have a conversation with you. A lot that he just kind of focused that too. Sometimes it's kind of horrible, but
That's the board
sometimes
chairman.
he can make. Huh?
That's the board chairman.
You're friendly with him. You're friendly with him. They man is power for your business.
From the same district. From the same Boston district. So I don't know. If I'm not friendly with, I'll be friendly with. I got to stop in Town and drink water and drink beer if I pass to go to Boston. So I don't want him closing that road in front of me.
Wait, when they pay Papa came from Boston again.
She says you're too capitalistic. Ask her for the penny and where the pay may come from.
Okay, I
people
told
have
you.
guests.
Hello guys. Hello guys. Let the house be.
Teach y'all right. Y'all have guests.
Yeah, but
Let's come to talk y'all to have manners. We have guests.
You say I love my man when I say I cry man.
Okay, you mean I told you. Okay, so what's your final message? We're gonna have a new. We're gonna put out something. I think it's not a one-day event. We're gonna beat this drum in the ears. Remind our people, on data, and we'll be having this sort of conversation. But what's your final word before we let you go?
Yeah, firstly,
we'll have a conversation behind the scene. Definitely, I promise.
Yeah, firstly, I wanted to say thanks for having me on here today. And all of our team members from Liberia are very pleased by your kind gesture. And we want to do this continuously. So giving this opportunity is something that is very welcoming. And I want to say thanks to each one of you because I follow this very usually. I follow your fair analysis and your genuine nature of politics in Liberia. We can shy away from politics. We must talk about politics. Like even in my book over there, I talk about the policies and the politics, understanding the two and how they work together. So I'm just happy to be here. And all I can say, if you're giving up on Liberia, don't give up. We still have people who have given their lives and will continue to do so for the betterment of our country. And like I have mentioned, we have to be very genuine. We have to be intentional about what we want to do. And we have a great team in Liberia. We've built with honesty and respect for people as we engage people of different levels who want to do it very respectfully, but very, very honestly as well, because there are a lot of things in our country that need to be fixed, and we must do it with respect and not sitting back and allowing people anyhow arbitrarily just doing things. We have a very great country. We must work towards and do things like these, especially in the educational sector, improving health, sanitation, and good governance in our country. And I can tell you the rest of the things going to fall in line. So I'm so happy tonight. My spirit is lifted again. And I can say whenever you need me, I'll be happy. Once it's for Liberia, I'm available. And I like to say in one of my popular Facebook posts, let's get the real job done and let love ring. Thank you so much for.
All right, Mr. John Yome. All of these people, they get a political pick. So probably you will be the cutting edge. The Liberal there is in 10 places at the same time. We don't know where he stands, but he's somewhere, some kind of place. But we're going to have a conversation behind the scene. Thank you so much. It was great having you. And your book, is it available on Amazon?
Yeah, it's on Amazon, and I also ship autograph copies to people who need it.
Okay, all right.
It's called Liberia in the Colorful World of
the number post there is his number that we can get in touch with.
That's the Cash App number, but you can also get me through that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I got mine on Amazon. The man said I'm paying the money, so he autographed my own, but it is here.
Yeah, the day we meet in Minnesota, I will definitely do that.
Yeah,
I have hard copies too. If you need that, just contact me. I'll just autograph it.
Next door neighbor here, anything he can mail it. But just send me the name of that book. Probably I will just order, or maybe we can work out something. I should be. In fact, I'm coming to Worcester next weekend, so for the Omen. So probably we'll meet there, and I can buy one.
I'll be happy to deliver that to you, sir.
Okay, thank you so much for
being here. Appreciate it.
Okay. Okay, well, the panelists are here and the conversations is about to go down the wire. Good evening to all our contributors, analysts, pundits. Those who picks the birthday is over, the party is over, 2023 is here. Welcome to the show. This is Friday night LPR live. All right, guys, good evening and welcome. In the house of LPR is 8:57 Eastern Standard Time. That is, let's see, we're gonna have the Lpr.
Yes, sir.
Let me see. Let me pick those 3 stars that were awarded. I think there's a cash prize in that too, right? You didn't talk about the money and how to pay with
Now they play advert with the American people, the white people, they don't know how to do business. How you recognize me and you give me fasting? Forget it. Keep your title. Just give me the money. I won't go to Total now. Just give me the money. Keep your title.
You should have told them to keep the jacket.
Yeah, they ain't give me fasting. They ain't give me fasting.
I said you should have given them the jacket. Right.
Yeah, that's true. But they didn't give me money.
You got it. That's true that you got it on.
Yeah, why you see something again now?
You took 10 minutes to talk about the jacket.
Why no in your background? No, what happened to your light?
Why? I gotta go like I want to put a rug on my face too.
You know the man and Jonathan they're using Coca-Cola phone now, so they got Coca-Cola light too.
No, since I gotta go to the library, I don't want people recognizing my face. Too good.
Okay, guys.
Yeah, but no, on a very serious note, Mr. So when that took place at a meeting, the recognition with this gonna come about. The entire district one, I'm sure they will recognize and do something about it. But usually they don't give cash except if you win something like an eagle or some or not eagle. You get money if you win a bear. Because California is the best, they are their symbol bear. If you win a bear trophy, then you get huge sums of money. If you win eagle, you get something, and then it go down the line. But I'm not too sure what it is that we're going to win. I'm just excited for folks to make that kind of announcement. And we have over almost 40 engineers attending that program. It's out of the designer, it's in construction. Construction is taking over. But for them to come back and say these are the people that did the work and they're very, very good. And because of that, there's another bridge in Eureka that they've specifically asked me and Robert to go and do the same kinds of stuff. So, I'm very. It's not a matter of money. I'm very proud to come home, look at my kids, my family, and say I did something good. That's good. That's good because these things require thinking. They require judgment. They require safety. They require how do you connect? How do you have people ride on these roads to be comfortable? It's the most important thing. At the same time, while they're riding, they shouldn't be afraid. They should be safe. They know they're in a safe hand, and that was a very good feeling for people to recognize that.
Okay, all right, Keto, just check there, just send it again. Okay, good evening, welcome. Let's get a conversation going here. Okay, guys, a lot been happening here. Let me make a speak here from the Commonwealth Belt because I've been getting a lot of information. Herb Kennedy is on fire. He's traveling all over to rural Liberia. We're just talking about it. Dr. Toronka.
Yes.
Let me bring you in here. I've been getting a lot of messages, except the images I'm waiting for. But those messages, they are already been verified and authenticated. Mandela Cooper is all out there at rural Liberia and making plans at where to come here. This seems to be a good news for you. This is what you've been waiting to hear, correct?
Yeah, that's you always want to make sure that you begin to generate presence. So absolutely, we are now trying to generate infiltrate into the rural areas, infiltrate and set up shop, so to speak, into the areas that are going to be strong for her campaign. So I think the ball has started rolling, and that's a great thing. So yeah.
Okay,
But
guys.
let me ask you a question, Doc. What will you say to those who perhaps will come out and say that most likely the madam will use the female clothes to gender sympathy? What will you say to people like that if they bring that kinds of subject out?
You're asking the group.
Yeah, I'm asking you that. I'm saying if people, other people might come and say, "Oh yeah, well perhaps she's gonna be the only female in the whole race, so she might use gender to garner sympathies from the Liberian people because she's a female." What will you? How will you respond to something
Absolutely
like
not.
that?
Absolutely not. She is not the kind of. She's smart on her own. She knows policies on her own. It is not about her gender. But I think just culturally and historically, when a woman is in a male-dominated race, you naturally draw attention because of your gender. Either two things going to happen. Madam Cooper, her nature is straightforward. So either she's going to be characterized as like a man. I mean, we saw Hillary Clinton when she was on there. She wore a pantsuit and we
That was going to be my next question. Please don't preempt my question. That is the question. The next question that I have is this: what was she? What was she? Was she trying to hide her beauty as a beautiful lady, just so that people can say the comment you're making, trying to be like in a men-dominated terrain? Was she trying to hide her beauty, or she just going to be herself and let it whatever happens?
I think when you say hide her beauty, then you're talking about a woman who is so fixed on her physical appearance. I think beauty exudes from inside out. So whether society might think she's trying to hide it or not hide it, I don't know what that terminology means, but I don't think anything she could hide. You know, she's a beautiful woman physically. However, she is running for the highest office in the land. And I think that office is not a beauty contest. So if she goes in feeling like, let me tune down my looks because, you know, they might look at me as a female, then we have completely voided what the upliftment of our gender, to say now you got to scale back so people can accept you. And I don't think she does not have any plans to hide anything physically about herself in terms of her physical, appearance. But she is in a male-dominated race, and her agenda will play a role. Some people will gravitate to her because of her gender, and some people will say, you know, we don't want her because of her gender. So she's in a pretty much a critical role, and a glass shattering role. I mean, we see that all around the world. It's not even just in Africa. It's when a woman, I mean, in my court, I am one of the few female that goes before these judges, and I have to face, you know, the kind of, oh, she doesn't know. And then when we start to go and advocate, then it's just, we're not talking about the law. Nobody's looking at how you look or how you don't look. So I think that if anything, my advice to her would be to push harder, to speak more about her policies, about her plans, so that her gender does not take center stage on this campaign. Because unfortunately, she's going to have to answer some of those questions.
Okay. Oti, let me just bring you in here. The liberal here in a very strategic move trying to go gutter here, and I know exactly where he's going. He's very good at that, trying to go to get on that Dr. Taranka. Maybe there's a political agenda because I know the liberal here. But Oti, let me just bring you in here because what I thought the liberal would ask the policy aspect of her as to what I satisfied the criteria to be the president of the Republic of Liberia. And he's talking about beauty pageants. Literally, it reminds me of Samuel Doe and Jackson Fiado in 1885 when Samuel Doe was telling Jackson Doe it knows blah, 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 blah. That's not what we are looking for now. Those days are gone. But we are talking about competence, policy driven, the set agenda for the country to address these poverty issues. You heard, you mean all of these challenges being faced with the country, and for he to come sit down here and talk about queen contest, beauty pageant, Nigerian
Well,
idol,
fair question though. That's what people do. They do look at these things.
it's
So it's a fair
ridiculous.
question.
But what should we be watching out for? Because we too have to give a sense of direction to the viewers, to our follower, in terms of the choices that they're going to be making when it comes to the presidential pick, and not just on the presidential pick, the first branch of government, because I have come to realize that's where the problem is also coming from significantly. So what should we be looking out for to these candidates or experience?
Did you say OJ or OT? I wasn't.
OJ, that's the
Okay, because I was like, is he talking to me?
You are using a cow tail, so I kind of like instead of saying OJ, I said OT.
Okay, got it. Well, hello everybody. Miss Cortel, happy belated birthday.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Of course, Dr. Gomez, good seeing you.
Thank you.
You know, I actually had the pleasure of meeting Madam McDella Cooper years ago. She came to an event that I was a part of, and the moment she spoke, I was immediately glued in. I just admired how she spoke, the things that she was working on. She's big on women rights in Liberia, especially young girls. So I can relate to her in a lot of capacity. It's unfortunate that we're in 2023 and we're still talking about genders. You know, why is her gender so much of a big focus? I do understand, yes, she is a woman in a male-dominant industry. It's not even an industry, you know, it's for everybody, but it has been male-dominant. But she's not the first woman president in Liberia. Ellen Johnson have already came through and represented the country as a woman. So we need to just forget that little, oh, she's a woman, she's a woman, she's a woman, she's beautiful, she's beautiful. Let's look at what she's going to be bringing to Liberia. And I do feel like she has a lot of great things that she could bring to Liberia. She's big on technology. She's big on bringing investors to Liberia, school education, especially young girls. She is a change that we need. And she is a very good, strong contender. I really hope to see what she has, you know, under her sleeves, especially for a betterment in Liberia. So we'll see.
So everything there is downsides to it. What you think could be the downsides? Yeah, we always like to create a vacuum, open backs for these sort of national conversations. If you were to provide consultancy to her, which of course you're not going to be doing, but what could be the downsides? Even be a man, woman, there are women as well. So there's a downside. Some shortcomings always factor into these sort of like tight contests and stuff like that. What should be her focus?
I definitely feel like she should ignore the noises, especially the noises that has nothing to do with her political movement. If people are talking about her being a woman, she should just disregard it. Just ignore the naysayers and focus on her main goal, which is implementing or promising, you know, good things for Liberia. Let that be her focus, and just disregard the noise about her being a woman. I don't understand. Yeah, go ahead.
No, I was going to say when you mention her coming here, I'm a little bit, well, not surprised because I know you're very smart, but it's been such a long time. That was around 2008, 2009, and for you to still remember that has to be some very impressive situation for you. At that time, you were very young as well.
I was young. I was. what, freshman year in college.
Yes,
It was like 10
Yeah,
years
I
ago.
just didn't want to touch that part, but
I'm a little older. Yes. She came and I was very impressed. I remember exactly everything she mentioned, like even what she wore, like she exuded confidence, and I just admired her as a woman first and foremost, but I admired her what she had to say about Liberia. Like she really is trying to make Liberia a better country. And she
that was
seems very
Gaisler.
sincere.
Gaisler was the president of ULA at the time when it came
Yes,
here.
yes,
Okay.
yes. And I was glued. I actually didn't even know she was running for president until Dr. Kume had mentioned that she was rooting for Magdala. And I was like, wait, Magdala Cooper? And then I did some research and just read about what she has going on for Liberia. And she's a very strong contender. She really is. And she has that presidential, figure. She reminds me of Michelle Obama. Yes, she's beautiful. Yes, she's gorgeous. But I feel like her intelligence overpowers that. 110%.
Okay.
Listen. View on this politics of beauty. I think, look, Madame Medela Cooper is a very smart lady, bar none. There is no argument about that. But I think what the answers people are giving is what ought to be, what we hope for, and not what actually happens. If you look in the chat, I just posted 2 research that I read when I was doing my own politics when I was running. One of them is by the Barbara Lee Foundation, and it talks about the politics of women likability, and they did polling of people. And the other one that I want you all to really focus on is a study. It's an actual research from Georgia State University that looks at the politics of candidates' likability. People vote for people most time because they like them.
True.
So let's not waste our time here talking about what we hope for. The facts are in politics, and this is research, not me. I just posted those 2 researches, and those are things that I dealt with when I was running my campaign initially. I had my beard this full. I was in my African attire when I took my picture. I was running for school board. I had my 2 markers in my hand like this. And Star Tribune, the state newspaper, had run an article on me about what I was doing in my school. So I used that picture like this. I had my cow in one hand, my marker in the other hand, and I got my propose suit on with my beard. So I took that and put that on my flyer. I went to the suburb to go speak to people. This old white lady called me on the side and said, Mr. Goya, I like you. You're a very smart guy. But your flyer is scaring people. She said, people see your flyer and they get turned off from looking at your message on the flyer. So you know what I had to do? I shaved my beard. I sat with my wife. We took a picture with my ring showing. And that was the picture I used on all of my website, my t-shirts, my everything. Because likability, and it's bad because when you start to look at the way it doesn't get applied evenly, it gets applied wrongfully towards women. It gets hypersexualized, and in a misogynistic society like ours in the US, it gets played wrongly. But let's recognize that. And if I were advising Madame Adela Cooper, I would say play to that strength. You're not telling people you're running because you're a woman. You're telling them it's an added advantage. And you're telling people all of the great things that research have shown how women lead because of the way they think, and they lead differently because they think differently. So you can't hide that. Anywhere Mandela Cooper go, people will look at her, they will know that. And if she go on camp and they will start saying that Hillary Clinton, she ugly, don't vote for her. That takes votes away from you. And real quick, when I was in Liberia, that's a fact. When I was in Liberia 2017, I was campaigning for Bromskin. Because my father-in-law was running on that ticket. I went to some of my boys to say, can you vote for Bronskin? I said, man, we left Bronskin. But the man VP, my man VP, too ugly, can't vote for him. And the man they told me they could not vote for Bronskin because Bronskin VP candidate was ugly. That is it. And it's wrong, but that's how people vote sometimes. So let's not try to discount the politics of likability.
I just want to say the Libra is good. The Libra is smart. And the Libra is the best political advisor on LPR. And people love me.
Best political advisor in my pocket.
Where is Waka, by the way?
Koto is here.
I can tell you where he is.
Wait, do you know where is he? Lab been playing out. Yeah, we're gonna be pulling the legs here and there.
Keto help also.
You know, let me get to that point. Let me make some points there clear about where is Baka. You know, I keep hearing like it had become a news, and some people even at the point of where I sorry for Kev Hassan. He even like praying for the death of the old man to the point that, people are going to that point of, the thing about it is that old man have been old. They have been, just imagine, 20 something, they've been behind him, that he will soon die. He are walking there. He have been living to most of our young people, some of our young people, beautiful people have died and left this old man walking dead. And he's still going like that. It's sad that people think that way. And I want to say, yeah, because in a public manner, he said it in a public manner. His 2 years old child was sick, and we all were praying for that child to get well. And we pray about that kid. And today that child is up. Anybody can get sick. For that matter, I was down well these few days. What's the matter about anybody can get sick for that matter? So for people to start thinking that he's not well and is so serious, it's not like that. Like how people take it. The old man is home president. Because I have been in touch with people who are with him right now, and it's just anything that anybody can catch cold, or anybody can catch. Like this few days, for the past 4 days, I've been down with cold. What's the big deal about that? Of course, people get that to that level. But the manner in which people emphasizing on here, he's in this. And I know the old man been planning to come here. They even came for the day he came, they will say that the man coming business, that is saying that business, and bring the man here again. It's so sad that people think it that way. But even though he has some minor, illness, but he's doing okay right now where he is.
Let me pick a bike on this beautiful lady coming here this evening. Mr. So Ambassador Baka is fine.
Yes.
What is shameful is Dr. Weah and his people to try to play politics with somebody that's being ill. And one thing about things like sickness and death and what have you, it's not something that you have control over, and not one person own it. So for people to try, especially the inept sedition, these people sedition that are unable to produce anything, the thief sedition, the rogue sedition, the stealing sedition. Then they will put their more on the old man. For what? For what? Because they want politics? You think that will help y'all? Y'all will be flock. Come 2023. CDC, you're done. You ain't got nothing else. But I got to be careful because I'm going to like, bro, very shortly. I will try my best to calm down because I don't want to get whooped. I want to visit CDC headquarters. I don't want to get whooped.
They're going to whoop you.
I will calm down. But what they did to that old man on a very serious note was shameful. Was unacceptable, was especially well, I don't even want to mention his name because I think sometimes he loved Dr. Weah more than Dr. Weah loved himself, and that's also a shameful behavior, Mr. Soul.
Before I bring in
let me push back on it to put something to and Koto.
So I don't know whether I can talk all my data.
Keto hit down draft back to be Keto here for you.
Listen, something too. Let me first of all say I'm sorry for the old man. He's sick. He was whatever feel what he was not feeling well. Hey, man say I'm not spring chicken again. Sunday I got my bone hurting me. So I'm not spring chicken. Okay. But sickness not for 1 point. But you see, I continue to tell we should start with double standard. When one of your surrogate were on his platform, Henry Costa, praying said Eddie Johnson said had died, he was happy that day. Seeing that, yes, she deserved death.
Wow.
None of you, your brother supporter, none of you call on Costa to say, don't say that's somebody else's mother. That somebody else's arm. I'm not justifying what CDC did. But these, I think, when our own supporters start, we should call them and say, no, don't say that that's human being. That's why you disagree with them. But you don't wish. You don't rejoice for someone to die because of policy differences. Henry Costa was one of those people who just, I think in November, December, when that rumor came on Facebook that Ellen Johnson said he had died, he was on his platform referring to that woman as witch. She deserved death. Nobody from the Unity Party called and said, no, you can't say that.
Well, Costa have been like that before.
No.
That is not broadcasting.
Hold on. This thing, we can't have it both ways. We cannot have it both ways. We're front on CDC when they do something, but when it happens in our camp, we don't want to talk about it. And I'm just saying, it's wrong. It's
okay.
wrong. And Honorable Buckeye, he was right. If even George, if our Honorable Buckeye, if George, we are offering me anything, I will not take it. Because George, we are too petty. When I think something happened, he gave some assistance to
mother-in-law, mother-in-law, 2005.
Because when the old man criticized him, he came back to the public. I help you. I send you money to bury your mother-in-law. How can a statement behave like that? That's not how a statement behave to a former vice president. And this is what they did again. Kev has that Freetown ball. That Freetown ball. You can't talk about Joseph Boakai. That Freetown ball. Can't talk about Joseph Boakai.
So
we had any private conversation yesterday. He should have kept his mouth shut. But not to come on platform to say, oh, we offer them, the government, the president offer him. They say yes, but they continue. They don't want the public. Where's Kev Hassan? He looked at talking to George Weah. But that Freetown boy, he not put him up on Joseph Boakai. And the CDC, this is the habit they got to disgrace people, especially with George Weah. And Mr. Tete is here, so when you call George Weah tomorrow, tell him the president doesn't behave like that. He will be nice.
Let me come in and let me bring in.
Oh, I just wanted to clear my throat.
No, they want pardon. I thought I got you already finished clearing.
No, God stay there.
Well, no, honestly, I was flabbergasted yesterday with this whole thing here. It shows another political intolerance that kept changed the entire conversation yesterday, and the people with the Unity partisans all were just flipping up. Remember, you are in an election season. Kev is a propagandist for this CDC. You would take any of the red meat, the kitchen sink, and throw it, and you allow yourself to get into that bait, you go into it. I don't think that was anything to be entertained. I'm wondering if there's anything even in the Constitution. And this is a wake-up call. And I'm just going to say it as it is. It's a wake-up call to all of these politicians, political parties, and even to national government to begin to make provision. We saw what happened to the late Jenkins Scott. If you are in authority, if you do not make specific defined position and set some sort of agenda for subsequent time to come, it becomes a little bit ugly. It is a challenge. I'm sorry it went the way it went. Kev, he just, I think for some extent, UG Fagon was correct, because we all saw this whole Western cluster, they were looking, going here and there, in order to stabilize and neutralize the conversations as it relates to that Western cluster. Kev came up with something yesterday. I do believe there was, I want to believe there was a conversation.
There was a conversation that went on.
There was a conversation held.
So,
and he knows exactly where the conversation would have gone. And so what he did was cleverly and strategically inserted something that he knew were going to go explosive. But let me bring in Wilton Ketoye. He's a pro-GOL. That's the governor of Liberia's supporter here. Keto, I
I'm here.
believe, yeah, I believe the ruling establishment is being slammed. People is being. You listen to Amos Joyce here. Is this something that we really should focus on to be talking about it that much?
Well, thank you for having me again, and I would like to say hi to all the panelists. Also, and so when I think one of the politicians in America said, and it's a common saying all around the world, if you can't stand the heat in the kitchen, get out. You can't live in glass house and throw stones. If this conversation that we're having tonight, if it was only from CDC on the Unity Party or on any other opposition in our country, I would say seditions are wrong. But this is not the first time for CDC, for Unity Party, for ANC people to do this very same thing that they are here and talking against and say is bad. They question the president's health. COVID-19. When we enter COVID-19, they question the president's health over and again. When the 3 boys got missing, the president had kidney problems. Those 3 boys, the kidney. Nobody from the opposition came out. There was no analyst that came out and said, no, you guys can't see saying this kind of stuff. The former vice president is sick. He wanted to be president of our country. It's not worrisome for all of us. It's not concerning for all of us to know the degree of his illness. What if the people compromise or hide this thing? We go into election, Joseph Boakai win the election where he did not even show face. He win the election. Then only to come out a few days after and say, oh, there's the news. Who next to take office from Joseph Boakai? I think we got to be open and fair. I don't think Kev said I think in something bad, in a bad manner to say, oh, like my own sister Koto said, praying for the woman to die. Who will pray for the friend to die? I don't know. Maybe people do that, but in my word, I don't think it's a good thing. I think Kev said the old man sick, somebody, the president offered to help him or whatever, the government offered to help him, and the whole thing just went out of proportion. And people start saying their own things. But I think it is fair that we should be speaking the truth. If something that is not right, that is being said in our political arena, we should call it off for what it is. I always make reference. When I talk about Henry Costa being a little boy, I can see the Unity Party people on this platform, the ANC people, oh, you can't disrespect me now. But the very Henry Costa spoke ill about your leader, call him the man, the dead man walking. He's a troublist. She insulted Alexander Kumi to the place where today he and the ANC people cannot even see eye to eye. What do you want Labrimpo to say now? When Henry Costa said that man was dead and walking, the ANC came out and said, no, you can't say that. But it is politics, man. We're in a political season where people will be throwing real meat here and there to get under the skin of other people. If Kev Hassan not come out to say the old man sick, no, Unity Party will not even come out to say yes, he was in the hospital. Nobody know.
No, that's like that. Prime FM broke that news Sunday.
That's
Prime
not
FM
him.
broke it. Yes.
That's not him brought it
Prime
up.
FM.
It
Oh,
been
thank
on.
you.
No, not even besides that.
But it was not as
No, but what I think what he's saying here, he's talking about, and I think this is where we need to start holding our leaders. There should be some sort of transparency. We see what is happening even with the current president now with this sort of whatever document called classified document. I've seen the hell of a press release coming from Unity Party. Have to raise something of such. The man is supposed I don't. First of all, they shouldn't have waited. That's the same thing we found on CDC. It doesn't matter what the people are going to say.
It's not anything that's going to put dent on the campaign. Because sometimes when you come forward with information, people see some trust and authenticity in you that, hey, you are a next person. Why would FM breaking the news? Who gave them that news? How they got to know? So that could have been the secretary, or maybe
So I think we're missing two things here.
No, listen.
No, we're missing.
Hold on. You wait. We're not missing. When I finish, you whatever missing, you can add your own. Keto is speaking to a point, and you said prime time broke the news. What I'm saying, he's a presidential aspiring or candidate or whatever it is. So if there's anything going on with him, which of course we do not want. We want them to participate in the process and allow it to play out. But if there was anything going on, they need a campaign, and not just one in all of the campaigns. And that's the same thing we're talking about here. They need to come forward to tell the Liberian people before even, and I know it's hard to contain this sort of information because there are already people also inside will always leak this information out to the press and it will come out. But before it becomes a sort of drama or scene, you just issue a statement. You don't even need to, it can't even be like a press conference. This is XYZ, one paragraph going on, and we would get to the public when it becomes necessary. But that did not happen. So as a result, they allowed Kev come with his bucket, and now they are coming up with this hell of a long release. It doesn't help the campaign itself.
So the reality is, we know this old man has a very severe health problem. And this thing happening, and they're keeping it on a hush hush, or even the kind of crime.
I've not had the opportunity. Hold on 1 second. The severity of it, that I don't know. I've not had the opportunity to review to see his.
But you see, I don't know what you call severe. What you call severe health condition?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Well, if somebody is wearing a pacemaker, is it something light?
It is like anybody else having blood pressure or having cholesterol.
Somebody having blood pressure or wear pacemaker. So what I'm saying,
I'm gonna say, as compared to anybody having blood pressure, having cholesterol, or any ailment, pacemaker is not even as dangerous as these things to compare with them.
What I'm trying to say is, people already speculating. I'm coming. The people already speculating this old man has a health condition, and it has exacerbated to the extent where it's like the world is coming to an end. And then you have the old man rushing to the hospital or taken to the hospital, and they can come out on major network to announce to people. They carry the one radio station and people carry it and make it look big, forgetting to know we're in a political season.
Let's spin around it. We don't have much time yet. Let's have people make that 1 cent. So we'll go to the next topic, because one of the things here, and before Sissy come in, I'm concerned with these arms that were formed up to this time. We're not even getting any update. We're not hearing anything again. Those are things that we're supposed to find out. We need to talk about, because those are things we need to talk about. Even though we've been trying to reach out to Moses Carter, that we're not hearing anything. Additional ammunition with discover. Okay, so what next? Is that how it's going to be? And then in the middle of this, something kind of Sissy.
So my prayers, and I'm invoking the blessings of our ancestors to heal Uncle Joe. I think it's despicable for anybody who rejoices at the misfortune of anybody. And Keto struck a point. It's also despicable people who are in opposition that speculate about President Weah, his health, and wish him evil. I would love that everybody who participates in elections, whether they lose or not, stay alive and see the person who won and help that person to lead our country instead of praying for people to die. Having said that, though, I'm a little disappointed in my brother Keto. I think Keto pivoted. There are two things going on here. One is the despicable way in which people spoke about and I don't think Kev was even despicable in talking about the sickness of Omer Boakai. I think and so I can get Keto's point to say it's politics. They've spoken ill and they speculated before about George Weah's health, and so it's fair to speculate about Omer's health. If it was just speculation about Joseph Boakai health, I really would not even going to get involved. And Keto has a point there. But I think the bigger issue that people are looking at here is that when conversations are had in private, especially at their level, about trying to help somebody, I don't think Kev Hassan should have been the person to break that news. I don't think that should have been the news to be broken. And I think that's what people are looking at. And for me, that is the place that I will hope my brother Keto can denounce such behavior from our own brothers that we agree with on our political side. Now, yes, Omer Boakai, we can talk about his health issues because he wants to be president. We can talk about that and say that brown people deserve to know. You can speculate all you want to speculate. That's politics. But I think there are two fronts here. The other pieces people are talking about, when Dr. Weir offers help, then there should be a conversation that is kept between the former vice president and the current president of the republic. And for me, I think that is where the error was made. But Keto also struck a point, and I think that Mr. So has been leaning to, and I've asked that on this platform months before when people brought out Joe Boakai's health issue. I said we need to start asking all of our presidential candidates to release their health and medical records for transparency. Mm-hmm. Joseph Boakai has released his. We know now. That's the reason why we can say, oh, the man got pacemaker, he died. So why don't we make it a point to push every presidential candidate?
That's right.
To release their health records so that when the people are voting, they know that you will not have a complication in that 2 days right after inauguration and create a constitutional crisis, or you die before inauguration and we get a worse constitutional crisis.
Yes.
So I think that's one thing that we need to push for. And then last but not least, the party people, they did the same things ANC people can do. They're behind the information, so they put in defense now. And had they look, you taking the former VP to a local hospital. You really think people will not know about it? you taking the man to a local hospital. The unity party should be aware that people have been using this pacemaker issue to a point to show that they've been saying dead men walking so many times that this was going to come out. They should have been ahead of it and release, at least if it's a one paragraph, Omer Boakai check in today for routine checkup. We're done. If they had done that, then it's not no more breaking news. Okay, people thought that breaking news. We already told you about it, and we're done. But because they didn't do that, they allowed the press. Now there's a press release from Unity Party. There's a press release from Telia Ure as I think whatever they call that the brigade to re-elect. So why all those many press releases? Would I just have one to come up with, and be done with that? And so one last thing though, people who always talk about pacemakers. If you understand that your heart is like a generator, it's electrical, right? You get short circuits, like your battery die and your battery needs jump starting. So the pacemaker is there to jump start the battery, which is your heart. So I don't see that as more critical as a lot of other illnesses that other people have. But again, it's politics. I get it. I think that's fair again. But I think the only place I frown on Kev Hassan was, talking about a conversation that happened between the president and the former vice president about offering help to the former vice president. And I will be on here to tell my uncle, if the president offers you help, that is a help that you deserve. You're not an ordinary Liberian citizen. You are a former vice president, and that is a help that you deserve. I would not be one person to say, I would say, take it, your life depends on it. Take it and get help.
And Sister, you're right. Can I just apologize? Can I just apologize for that, because I meant to say, but it escaped my mind. I don't think Kev was the right person to deliver that message. I think it was premature, it was childish, and I said it on Spoon, and people frowned at me on that, and I said, look, I don't think he was, because he put the president in a predicament. He put the president in a place where people are looking at the president with like, oh, how can with all that is happening?
He said the president told him to talk it. He said the president told him to say it.
No, but I think it was propaganda.
Let's do it one at a time.
I think it was propaganda. I think he was trying to pivot or do something, but the president didn't tell him.
Yeah, it's the thing here. I think the people on the Spoon and the various supporters now, they're supposed to know by now somebody who tries to change the narrative of a conversation that is in the making. And then unfortunately, everybody just goes into his direction, and the whole entire program change. People are calling, they say they want to hear the liberal side, then now we can close on that.
What say want to hear liberal side, give my people. Oh, they know that Joseph Walker support us. Let him speak. Here in Koto.
Yeah, Koto.
Mr. So, I told you already, I'm loved on this show, and people respect my view, and I also respect them. Look, let me say this here very quickly. Koto and the CDC, they have nothing to offer politically, emotionally, whatever you think about. They have nothing to offer. I'll give you an example. Koto started by saying that there's nobody should ANC or Unity Party shouldn't come out. These are the people that were speculating on the president's health. And they were saying the president have I call it kidney problem, and then they try to link the president with the death of the 3 young men and what have you. And then at the same time,
Kete.
I said CDC. Kotu the CDC. I said CDC. That Kete, of course. So he went on to say then, but as far as Ambassador Baka is concerned, we have the right to know because he want to be president. So people need to know what's wrong with him. Then if you need to know who the person who wants to be president, what's about the person who is already president? Can we not know about the health history of that person? So even if the people are speculating, you're talking both sides. But then again, that what you'll do, you're very good at that CDC. You'll talk both sides of your mouth, and sometimes you'll throw your feet in your mouth most of the time. You can't win. You see, LeBron are not stupid anymore. We passed that stage. So for you to come here and argue one point, then you say, but we have the right to know. So when it comes to Ambassador and when it comes to President, we don't have the right to know. So if people are speculating, we shouldn't even speculate. We have no right to know. But when it comes to Ambassador Baka, then we have the right to know. And then you have the far right, Mr. So trying to come out and explain to us more what you're saying. Like we didn't hear what you're saying. He wants to be like a second voice for you, trying to pronounce it more. But that's what he does. When you come out here, when you say something, he tries to make it look like something. It ain't happening. The liberal is here. When you do that, I will point it out. Got to my man, CDC, you're done. What you need to do now, Ambassador Baka will be saved. God is with him. The old man is here to stabilize this country. Let me say the last thing here. The liberal is so good when it comes to politics. It is unbelievable. Some months and months and months ago, I've been saying here that Honorable Kumi should be second to Ambassador Baka. Then a few weeks ago, I came out here. I said, you know what? This thing here is just too much. Ambassador Baka, go and nominate or go and pick Kumi as your vice president. Guess what? Former Senator of Maryland County, Bartlett, apparently was listening to the liberal, and he made that same statement. So when I say something here when it comes to politics, I know what I'm talking about. I got PhD in politics. Liberian politics, that is. Liberian politics, that is. Liberian politics, that is. So when I come here, I say something, you're going to listen to me. And there's other central right here, somebody from Atlanta. We don't even know what I. But Mr. Central right, the liberal is on. The liberal is speaking. Let me finish my point. The other central right, we don't even know what position he's on tonight. I don't even know who he is tonight. I need to find out so we can clearly define who he is tonight. But 1 minute, he want to go with Mr. So, and then when the play get hot, then he come back to the liberal. Central right, we know your center people, we know. But tonight, you got to pick a change. You got to pick a side. And so I want to say here, CDC, you're back on the wrong tree. The old man will lead. The old man will show you How a government supposed to be? He was packed for 12 years. He's now ready to redeem this country and make this country the way it's supposed to be. He is ready.
Oh,
Is that so? What happened?
Mr. So the liberal just put us something out there that we need to correct. I know the former.
No. You don't. This we go. Cut you. With this on this platform, we go by step. We don't jump in that CDC platform here. Oh. The one that
he won't get the push banner.
No. After me, then the moderator gonna say who come next. Yeah, that's not your time to respond to me.
Why are you jumping into it?
But why are you gonna let a man come respond to me? You never allow us to do that here.
My time to respond. I give my time to Keto.
Yeah, Mr. To, you read that when I said you say wait for your time. Mr. To, I support you.
No, but I'm my time to respond. I give my time to Keto, so Keto can use my time.
So you probably just be going in front of you. You're gonna be you. Oh God, my goodness! This is a horrible Friday here this evening.
But Mr. So you didn't let me respond concerning to Mrs. Madera Copper issue. You know, and that was an issue we're discussing, and this whole thing just overshadowed.
Well, there were two things here. I just wouldn't. I think the liberal and his point. We can go. But before we move, is there anybody who has anything to say to this?
Yes. I want to say something to the liberal. The liberal said he said something.
I want to give Ken a chance.
No, Keto texted me what he wants to say, and I agree with that. It seems they wanted to say, so then they're talking.
Thank you. So liberal said days ago.
Oh, I see.
Right, let's make progress.
I'm listening.
He said a few weeks ago, he brought about Mr. Braka, Joseph M. Braka show. Go ahead and nominate a Picomi. And he brought it, and so the former superintendent or the former senator of Maryland, Balu, came out and talking. It has always been Balu's stand. Last year, the beginning of last year, he came out on the scene spoon and said Mr. Kumi should go as Joseph Braka vice president. Way back before you even talk about it.
No. Actually, two people here, they will tell you. I started the very first time when politics opened on Lpr. I started that. That has always been my song. They know it. The two center right and the far right, they know it.
So this is the thing. I put a post yesterday. Waiting for you to come out and talk about that post. It's very significant. You have a leader that is so incapacitated, he can't even walk, but he still says he's going to run in the election. He want to run in the election. And that I put that post so it can remind us we have a young generation who must be looking for a young president to be able to move our country forward.
But I think that people should make that call.
Am I Liberia?
Okay. All right. We'll go to that post. Let's make progress here. We don't have much time here. Like 15 minutes, we'll be wrapping. Oh yeah. Koto, you say, what was your view or opinions you wanted to hit on, Madam Cooper?
Yes. I listened to my sister Taranka. Discussing the plight of Madam Cooper, which is very important. And this is the point we want for more women, to participate in politics in Liberia. And that's why even motivated some of us to, partake in politics in Liberia. But sometimes to be realistic, you have to look at people in politics, you have to look at all of the factors that lead to somebody being elected as a candidate. And that factor is whether you are qualified, accessible, or whether you are popular or you are likable, and those are the qualities people look at. But my point here is when I talk to people in Liberia, I haven't heard much of people, knowing Mandela Cooper. And the thing about leadership, to make somebody your leader, you must have known the person, what the person capable of, what the person is, to know all of these things. Sometimes it is good to tell these people go and vote for these people, but it's also good for them to know who this person is. Because I'm one of those that somebody can just come and tell me go and vote for X, Y. I must know the XYZ qualification, their likability, their qualification, all of their popularity, what they have done in the country, what they are known of in the country. Those are things that when you're telling, when you trying to run your campaign, these are things you start to teach people. This person, I know this person. I know the person to be XYZ. I know. So if I'm running a campaign, I already know who the person is. Then I run my campaign to tell somebody who the person is. But if I don't know, then it makes it difficult to sell the candidate. Okay.
Are you saying so? I try to get it. Are you saying the Liberian electors are not familiar with?
For many other people, I try to push it up to them because I don't just go to people and tell them vote for my candidate. I'm like, they have this candidate, they have the candidates, in question. Let's discuss them to see who really you will prefer. And when I put it that they have not heard, about many have not heard about Mandela Cooper. And I think the thing you should do most.
Okay, how many people you talk to?
I own a district. I get a district.
Yeah, how many people you talk to? I just want to know the data.
So the women group I have there, I have a women group, they call it Bosa Women Association. And I have other women groups that I'm dealing with there. And when I go to them, I don't tell people, come and vote for my candidate. No. I will tell you, these candidates are there. Which of the candidate will you prefer? And I'm not saying that because I want to downplay, but I'm saying it to motivate her to do more. Okay? To make herself available to these people so that they will know her. Because I also advocating for more women to be in politics. So in doing that, that could help her. Okay?
So if she follow what you're suggesting, will you then switch your position with her? Go support her?
The thing is, right now, to be frank with you, I just done one politician who jumped like a frog.
Okay.
Yeah, no, I just do it.
Yeah. It's not difficult. This is why I don't see the lawyer.
I can sell her for people who want her, but I can't just jump like that. No.
So Koto, I have a different version of this here.
So that's the thing.
If I hear and say I support the candidacy of Tiawan Gonglo, or Joseph Boyga or Mandela, I think it is my responsibility to hold that political ideology of that person. So I don't understand. I still don't get it. I try to figure out. On the other hand, you will Kumi, you will Boyka as an alternative, or either I think Boyka first, then Kumi as an alternative. So why you want them to, for those voters? You're not talking for your candidate. You want them to know about Mandela Cooper. I don't get it.
Oh, sorry. No, the thing is, I want to push my candidate. So I'm not just going to say, oh, come tell me your candidate. I have to create the discussion. So when I know that you're not really standing on a particular level, then I try to push my candidate. That's how I do mine. So in that level, I want to know where you stand as a politician or as a voter, to know where I can get at you, to convince you to, consider my candidate. So that's why I'm speaking of. I'm not saying that I'm going to say I'm campaigning for other candidates. No.
Okay.
But I question to know where you stand and before I come in.
All right. Let's do a spin here. Today is Friday night.
And I hope I could, highly promote her, but it's just that I got to know her when I really started discussing politics on Lpr. But previously, I really have not known her. So that's the point.
Mr. So, can you put Joe comment up there? Joe has a beautiful comment up there. Can you pull it up so the whole world can see it, please?
We already saw the message. The best. We saw the
No, but I
He the
mean,
best.
why? If y'all come and flash like that, that's not how it's supposed to work. Pull it up. Let's stay there for some time.
No. Mr. So,
What
when
kind of business?
Santo is moderating, he can do that. Okay. When Santo moderating, he can do that. He can put all the comments he want to put out there. But today he's not moderating. So let's hold the show, Mr. So, please.
He has
Okay.
asset. So all the other people coming have been coming there. The other one say, the other one I say kick liberal out. You won't telling me to put that one. Joe, no comment you want put there.
Yeah.
Okay, let me put that one. And next one I say kick liberal out. Will put it. Is that this one? Why you want that?
Liberal is the best.
Liberal is the best.
All right. Okay, yeah, let's do this last spinning here. Today's Friday. Everybody got to chill out. There was a serious thing reported. Was that this week? Last week, right? The arms, the discovery of the arms and ammunition, all of that. I see that as a very, very serious thing. And I hope this would not be one of these endless conversations or security briefing, just exhibit, showcase things, and then we don't get to the borderline. And I got to bring you into this fry here, Mr. Ketot. You support, it doesn't mean your position is the position of the government, but as a supporter. And I think this is where we are lacking people that support, be it the government, the oppositions, or political parties, their leaders, or whatever. We have to be honest and sincere, because it's not about them that much, even though they are the torchbearer, but ultimately it's about the country. We saw the press conference. It's not staying within the confines of Liberia. That's the thing about it. When those things were happening, it gets out. Other people see it. Businesses, investors, tourists, and other people want to go in. Nobody want to see places where every now and then you find arms. You don't know who put it there, who not put it there, and nothing is in. We are about to get in the new week. After the first briefing, the following date, you remember, right? There was a second press conference of more ammunition. That conference was held by Director Moses Carter, the Deputy Director for Public Affairs. And I'm thinking right now, by this time, we would get to know more. I'm thinking that the both houses of government, either the lower or the upper, on security, who have called maybe the national security authorities or people, somebody to know what is going on, to get the debriefing. I don't know if it is happening. I don't know, but it's not being made official. Will we know in this coming week? Will we get more details? Will we get a clear picture of what is really happening, or we just discover them and that's the end of it?
I think we should be getting briefing as the need arises. I think this is security threat to our country, and I think it's classified. It will not just come out to you and just put everything in the public there, because it's dangerous. So it's a situation that the government is handling carefully. Now you got this individual or whoever smoking arm to Liberia from America. We're hearing in the works that the individual has been arrested here. We're hearing that the Liberian government working through its foreign mission to have him extradited.
He's been arrested?
That's what we're hearing. It's unconfirmed, but we're hearing it. So this is the thing. I think that's what we're hearing, that he has been arrested. The Ben guy has been arrested by the American authority. And when you listen to other network, that's what it's saying. But my own thing here is our government and our security people should be careful how they come out with messaging. They should come out when necessary, because the situation is serious. It poses a security risk to our country. We saw the weaponry. They are very dangerous. They are military-style weapons, and we can't joke with this. So I think national security has a way of investigating these kind of issues, and they will take the time. One of the things that I heard Moses Carter said, and it worried me, and again, because of our constitution, is sometimes you get angry. You arrest people who are in connection of these kind of situation, and then you free them. You free them on bail, because our constitution say that you can only hold them for like 24 hours, or how many hours you can hold them for, and let them go, and then they will be put into police station. But the situation is it's serious. How we just let them go? Supposing they slip out of the country, they travel, and that's it. Where are we going to get further information from? Are there more areas in Liberia that people sending arms and ammunition? What are the plans? So we get to get all the information because of the security threat it posed to the nation and the security concern. So I think we should hold our horses yet and wait for the security people to investigate. I think in due time they will come and tell us. You keep pushing the people, they will tell you what they want you to hear.
Okay, let's spin it from let's go from bottom to top there. OJ, I don't know whether Ketot actually addressed the question that his view, that his opinion, but you as a Liberian, what are you anticipating hearing from national government relative to this arms and ammunition being discovered? Press conference and telling people exhibit those arms is insufficient. We want to know who are the real doer actors, or where these things coming from, for what reason are they just throwing them in there? It's dangerous for the state.
Yeah, I definitely believe that there needs to be a follow-up. I have not been following the story, so I don't know if they did a second press release conference. I'm not sure, but there definitely needs to be another follow-up that would kind of lay out, like, who, like you said, who's the gentleman from America based in Texas who was responsible for shipping those barrels with guns, and then who's the recipient. I need to know their background and what the government is doing to prevent such things from ever occurring again. So we definitely need some follow-ups, and I think the government should definitely, let us Liberians know what's going on. If it's an inside job, is it a political reason why these guns were found? There needs to be answers, and they should let us know as soon as possible.
Okay. Sisse?
Well, I kind of agree with Keta a little bit. Except that when he talks about national security, the genie is already out of the bottle. Inspector Patrick Suru ran too much, he ran him off too much, and put a lot of things out there that should not have been out there in the first place. So now trying to put that back in the bottle and be careful how you speak, I think it makes sense. I would want for the authorities to speak, not necessarily for speaking purposes only, but to give us next stages, next steps. What has happened, right? And so for me, that's what I'll be looking for. Like, for example, what Keto is saying, that the accused in Texas has been arrested. That should be something that warrants an update from the police department, from the Liberia National Police, that we're not hearing it from press people before the Liberia government, not even the Liberia police, but the Minister of Justice should be the one to speak on that, so we know what is going on. They've already told us, according to Inspector Patrick Suru, that they were going to be seeking extradition. So that is not a national security issue anymore. They already give out the name of the person they suspected. That is not a national security issue reason anymore. They've already told us the person lives in Texas, so we already know that. So if the person has been arrested, then that will not be a national security issue anymore. So the chair or the head of the joint security in Liberia should be updating Lebron. And then the last piece I want to disagree with him, though, even though I agree on some piece, is that when he talks about the laws in Liberia and people being allowed bail and that they could jump bail and leave, then that speaks to the lack of force with which the prosecutors or the state attorneys spoke to the judge. Because when you give medicating circumstances, if you provide for the judge that there is a preponderance of evidence that this person could skip bail, then in most cases the judge will remand that person to jail, even though there is a bailable offense. And so if these people are allowed bail, then Keta shouldn't be getting mad at the laws. He should be getting mad at the attorneys that are representing the interest of the government in these cases.
Okay. All right. Amos Joyce.
Yeah. Mr. Keta did not understand what the Moses Kato said. He was speaking in terms of the broker, the custom broker. said that because they don't have any charges to levy against these people. So within 48 hours, when you can charge person, under the Liberian, you have to release them. Because you cannot keep person in jail for time indefinite without no charges. That is abusing of the people's rights. So these people that the broker was only clearing. So if you cannot establish a charge to keep that broker there, all you got to do, either you release that person on their own recognizing that maybe the character and thing, or they get a lawyer, you release the person. You can't keep them there for time. It's not with the person like that. The person that they caught with the arm. That's a different issue. But these people are only doing the piece of job. So you have to study whether they had contact with that person, whether they had knowledge of what was being shipped. So if you cannot study, you cannot keep them in jail. One.
Okay.
I read something the Minister of Justice. There was a release that came out. I think he wrote a letter to the publisher from the Minister of Justice. Said that they have written the US government. They are seeking extradition order this guy. But then Liberia does not have an extradition order with America. They have one 1939 something, and it expired 1944. And let me just go back to history. When they arrested Charles Taylor in the country, and the Doe government was trying to extradite him to Liberia, one thing they said the government doesn't have an extradition order treated with America, so they cannot extradite Charles Taylor. The second one was that the court system, Charles Taylor lawyers, the court system in Liberia was not competent. They could not trust him that his right was going to be guaranteed. So therefore, they would not send him. So it come back. So even if the Minister of Justice wrote the government of the United States, they have to look at the treaty. Is there any treaty between Liberia and America? And second again, maybe the lawyer will come up with the same thing. The client will tell her lawyer, say, look, I'm willing to go, but the country does not have a good judicial system. I can't trust them. So make the case for me that my life will not be guaranteed if I go there for trial. So there's a whole lot of things that tie into this thing here. And Mr. Keda, I don't know what station you heard that from. The United States government will not just go and arrest someone based on rumor 5,000 miles away. No, there has to be some evidence to convince the U.S. Attorney General to arrest a citizen. Not by what you say behind about 5,000 miles away, you are not presenting any evidence to convince the people. If they had done so, I had not seen the Attorney General Liberia to say these are the things we will send to the government of the United States to have this man. I have not seen that. I don't know how many networks carrying that. I have not seen it. But these are the things we talk about. This thing here, if the GOL is not careful, it will come back to haunt them. Because some of us, I'm thinking that they say he worked for American Airlines. And if you try to do a research to see how many one of those guns cost, come on, Cartoon Puja cannot buy 10 of those arms or 20 of them. No Cartoon Puja like that young man they're talking about cannot buy those arms. Let's even talk about the ammunitions. So I want the government to come up with more information to tell us how far they're going. Let's see the bill of landing. When they continue to leave America, when were the expected time arriving in America, when it was open. Let's see something.
Okay, we are already out of time. Dr. Toronka, if you want to speak to that, if there's any other thing you are able to do that.
Well, yeah, I mean, just briefly, as George is saying, that the extradition treaty that was the bilateral treaty that was in place since 1939, we just don't know if it's in effect. And I think America is, it got ratified in 44. But again, I think there is some discouragement with these extradition treaties with the United States. So how they are going to move and take this whole thing seriously because of just past requests for extradition, we will wait to see. I think you're right. When we get into the judicial system, it sometimes get and seem unfair. but there is a due process for even defendants. There are due process, and one of the things in one of the arguments that people make, especially when we get into the court system, that in terms of jurisdiction, if they believe that there will be no fairness, they have a right to ask whether the judge is going to grant it or not for change of venue because of their life and liberty. Nonetheless, I think this is a huge security issue given the frailty of the country and these in ammunition being imported into the country for reasons that we all know, especially from the Civil War. So it heightened security, it heightened anxieties, and I pray that our judicial system in Liberia is able to effectively be able to get a hold of this, because we are talking about someone who lives in the United States and then importing something in Liberia. But I think for the safety of the nation, they will do what's right. And in my conclusion, I would like to close, of course, on my candidate that I hugely support, Madam Cooper, as I think as OJ had said, her entire perception is about technology, bringing investors back into the country, because that's something a lot of investors have been pulling out because of the instability of the economy, as well as the high degree of corruption. We want technology. I mean, we want investments to come back in instead of just relying on donorship to strengthen our economy in Liberia. She's very big on strengthening the Constitution and giving the power back to the people. That is what she's going to be moving on. She's very huge on more women being a part of government, because we see, as Cisse said, there is a shift in how women lead. We lead with nurture and compassion, and I strongly believe that her coming into the power because they now have had the opportunity to interact with a lot of other leaders in the world. So she has a vast understanding, not just on Africa politics. So one thing my husband and I were
Something told that is a witch.
I think Amos George saying he phone to her, that he phone she using.
Okay. All right. In the meanwhile, oh boy, something told. He said he left me the car. Okay. Cutthroat, your final statement on that stuff. What do you want to get us that statement? Your line is still muted.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Mr. So. And I want to be glad to be on the show tonight. It's really interesting. And the thing about it is, for me, I'm encouraging other us to actually advocate for the right leader. You could have your best leader that you want to be in, but right now I feel that George Weah is not the best leader for our country. For the level at which we're seeing our country is in, we don't want second term for him. Because they say if a person is coming in and want to do better, the thing is the first impression at least will show you that the person is capable of doing what they said they would have done. But for now, I really do not see it in George Weah to giving a second term. And that's why we can all, unite as, Mr. Toh said, I've been one of those advocating for the Omen and Kumen. But again, people did not listen to us, and some of the things that we were putting forth, they didn't listen to is what happening. And one time I told Moses, and I told him, I said, count it, just check it out. Kumen will spend a lot of money that he needed not to spend. And number two, there will be a lot of people that he will get into a campaign that he needed not to do. Those two things, the rest of the things have not come to pass, but those two have come to pass. And that's what we are seeing here today. Because he want to be president by all means, he will end up being the clean that he would end up, they say the white chicken, the president too much can go get in the dirty clothes, in the dirty oil, or get in the oil. That's what will be happening now, because people will tell him, say, to be a winner, you have to do this, you have to do that. So then he might find himself doing the very thing that he said he didn't want to do. And for me, I think that other people say it can work, but I still think there's a possibility. They should still work around things to make things work. And for the gun thing that you are saying, it's so saddening, because these were the same seditions that was saying that, in fact, Costa, well, we were hearing Costa then gone to Liberia to enforce armed incursion, and in fact, people wanted to overthrow George Weah. But then what happened to the investigation of arms that people see in the country that can lead to those things? Because if you think that people are in the happening of such,
All right, brother.
that armed investigation should be one of the primary
Sunday?
things to be carried on.
Okay, brother.
But
That's it,
as we
okay?
are seeing up to this time, we are even hearing that they have released those that was arrested concerning this armed issue. So if they are released, who is the suspect right now that they are investigating a case around? If they have released those suspects. So are they telling me that what they explain that these people were connected to the arm? They said they went as far as saying this woman was in her name was written on the barrel and all of that. All of these people are not guilty, or they don't find part of this arm issue. I said it's not right. Something is not right about this arm investigation, and they should do better. If you're saying you suspect people to come and overthrow the government, this is not an issue that you will play with. And I will say it's dangerous, because our people are there. These people can still use this arm to carry on any dangerous thing in a country that we do not want for it to happen. So that's why the security apparatus should take it a priority issue to actually address it. You can't say you arrested people, then you say they are released now without coming up with at least a preliminary report. So far, I haven't heard about a preliminary report concerning the arm issue.
All right.
I think those are things that we should be looking at also.
Thank you so much. Liberal, send her on for the night. Time is fast spent.
Yeah, Mr. So, beautiful Friday. Good night to all.
The Libra can say much because he already waited on me.
Thank you so much, guys. Thank you so much. And to our beautiful followers, listeners, your tweets, your comments always get us moving. The interaction, the engagement with us always get us moving. I want to thank you so much, guys. Ojit, Sisit, Kotot, Ketot, Pa George, and the Liberal Progressive. Liberal, everybody said you want a night, we must give you it so you sleep fine, so you're going to have a good weekend. You want a night tonight. We will celebrate you. Thank you so much.
So, my man, I got this on text here to tell you the best. Oh.
You see how you let trouble? He's trouble. I don't know.
Okay, here's the trouble.
Okay, then. All right, folks. Thank you so much. Okay, let's get us going here. And
DJ Square Production Classic.
They all don't wait. Don't wait, don't wait. Don't wait. Oh yeah, don't wait. Don't wait. Don't wait till I die. Don't wait, yeah. Don't wait. Don't wait, my brother, don't wait. Don't wait. My sister, don't wait. Don't wait. Don't wait till I'm in the hospital, don't wait. Don't wait. I'm dying, don't wait. Don't wait. I need your help, don't wait. Don't wait. Don't wait till I die. Please help me, don't wait. Don't wait. Don't wait, don't wait, don't wait. Don't wait. I need you help me now, don't wait. Don't wait till I die. Don't wait till I die before you help me. If you want to help me right now. Don't wait, oh sister. Don't wait. I said, don't wait. My brethren, don't wait. Don't wait till I die before you help me. I need your help. Help me right now. I'm in the hospital, lying on my sick bed.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the show. I am Afonso Zienso, and this is today's editions of Lpr-Tv Live with the panelists. The panelists are here in full to discuss, dissect, and critical issues affecting our country. Welcome to the show. I am Afonso Zienso of the Liberia Public Radio in collaboration